The Toronto Argonauts welcome the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to town, where both teams are looking to get back to their winning ways. The Bombers have won 6 of the past 8 against the Argos, but so far this season, it has not been the same Winnipeg team. Will they find their form tonight, or will Toronto move above 500? We are about to find out.
Oliveira's leading the league in rushing again and wants his team to jump on his back so he can lead them back to the top of the West.
That's true with any running back, Jim, and particularly with these two guys we're talking about here. Kadeem Carey, only 11 touches last week. I say double that, and I don't care who the quarterback is, you're going to have success. Cam Dukes, Nick Arbuckle, give him the football.
Zach Cologne threw for 33 touchdowns last year. This year, he only has 2 touchdowns. His team has won 2 games, and everyone is giving their 2 cents of what these Bombers need to do. Well, if they can get this victory, those 2 points may help ease their pain.
Let's stick with the quarterbacks here and pulled from the last game in favor of Nick Arbuckle. Cameron Dukes getting another shot as the starter tonight. The question is, how short is Ryan Dinwiddie's leash when it comes to Dukes? What an up-and-down season so far for this young man. He was great in the first 2 games, and then he suffered in the next 2. He beat Montreal, and then last game, and now tonight we have no idea what we're going to get. Gabe Burness alongside Jim Barker, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel as we get set for the Argos taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. A beautiful night down at BMO Field, and right now we head there and join our Matthew Shinetti. Matthew, it is great to have you back on the broadcast. And as we were just talking about, the big storyline going into this game is the quarterbacking situation with the Argonauts.
Yeah, let's try to go ahead and unpack that a little bit, Kate, because I did speak to Argos head coach Ryan Dinwiddie just a few moments ago, and he says Cameron Dukes will not have a short leash. There will be no pitch count, but still, Nick Arbuckle will be ready to go. Through the week, they were both sharing reps with the first team. I was at practice earlier this week, and speaking to both Dukes and Arbuckle, a real strong, constructive relationship between the both of them, but Arbuckle said he's done his best through the week to prepare Dukes, and as much as he wants to be a competitor and be in the game, there is going to be really a lot of patience here when he comes to the bench. He's going to help Dukes out, kind of show him what he's been missing maybe on the field, but ultimately this is Dukes' team at this point. Dinwiddie says he has a lot of faith in them. He's not going to hold back in terms of the playbook, and there is that Chad Kelly factor as we get closer and closer to past Labor Day when Kelly will be allowed to return to the Argos. I'm hearing that him even coming to the facility or the practice facility or the practice field, excuse me, at Lamport Stadium just here nearby here at BMO Field will not be a Ryan Dinwiddie decision. It'll be an upper management decision. So right now, this team is going to be led by Cameron Dukes, and if need be, Nick Arbuckle will be ready to go. And whenever Chad Kelly arrives back in that quarterback room, where Dukes and Arbuckle say, he's going to have to meet the vibe, Kate.
Well, that's the thing. We're looking for some consistency right now under center when it comes to the Toronto Argonauts, and it's going to be a few weeks before we see Chad Kelly. But right now, you have to make the decision between Dukes and Nick Arbuckle. We saw Arbuckle come in against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He orchestrated that drive at the end of the game. And, Coach, he looked great.
Well, Dinwiddie has a long history with Arbuckle, and so he knows his ups and his downs. He's seen him as a starter, and it's a big difference. And we've talked about this a lot through the course of the season when a guy goes from being a backup to being a starter. So that is why I believe Cam Dukes is going to be the starter. And, Matt, he can say he got a long leash, but it would not shock me a bit if they struggle a touch here at the beginning of the game, that he doesn't turn to Nick Arbuckle and his kind of safety blanket.
Yeah, we can take all this leash talk and just shove it as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's just, there's no way to bring a quarterback along, give him a leash, how long it is. It's just mindless. And I think it's just because the Argonauts are struggling. And this guy comes in late against Hamilton, not this guy, but Nick Arbuckle, and slices a defense that's playing a little bit differently because it's the end of the football game. We call those yabs, and sometimes we call them pabs, either yards after beatdown or points after beatdown. Nick Arbuckle's thrown almost 1,000 passes over the course of his career. We got a young quarterback in Cameron Dukes who's trying to figure it out in front of us. And this was not even his team last year, and he's going out there and he's got his team to a 3-3 spot. It's not bad. It's not bad, but, you know, I understand the pressures, but at least talk. No, you got to let this kid go out there and play. Much like we saw Dave Dickinson do with Jake Mayer, you know, and that football team's 3-4. He didn't have a short leash, you know, and what we're doing in Ottawa right now at 5-2 with Drew Brown, letting that kid go out there and figure it out. To me, this is what Toronto needs to do with Cam Dukes. Let the kid play. Ryan Dinwiddie knows that as well as anybody. He used to be a quarterback in this league himself.
We know both of these guys are just a stopgap for when Chad Kelly come back. Let's be honest.
But that's another story.
And I spoke to Ryan, and he's basically said, you know, Cameron Dukes, he's my guy until he's not. Yeah. I'm going to allow him to go out there and play. And if he's playing well, I'm going to keep him in there. But if not, I'm going to come with Arbuckle. You know, we need to win some games. I don't think he's concerned with feelings or emotions or anything like that. He's going to do what's ever best for his team. So I'm all for him. You know, Ryan Dinwiddie, he's had some success in this league, so he understands how to win games.
No, we know who the starting quarterback is for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and that is Zach Collaros. But Zach hasn't been overly impressive either this season. This team is 2-5. They have the fewest amount of big plays, but they've also given up the most amount of big plays. Milt, how important is this game tonight for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers?
This is big because we talk about Toronto Argonaut quarterback problem. I mean, Winnipeg has a problem. We know who their quarterback is, but he hadn't played well. I mean, this team is last in passing touchdowns, last in time of possession, last in points, second to last in second down conversion. This time last year, you talk about big plays, they had the most 30-yard completions of 15. This year, they are second to last with 5. So they have a quarterback problem, too. Like I said, we know who their quarterback is, but he needs to play a lot better.
Yeah, and Milt, I think it comes down to a lot of times we see Zach Collaros, he's being flushed. He's off his point. He is running to his right and running for his life. We saw those 2 clips there. He's flushed to his right and he's getting sacked. And to me, that's the difference in Zach Collaros this year with their offensive production. And Brady Oliver didn't go through training camp. You know, they lose 2 of their starting receivers. You know, they lose 40%.
Matt. You know how it is, though.
I get it. But I don't think they have a problem there. I just think they're dealing with other issues that are affecting Zach's ability to go out there and play consistently from week to week. So I think they'll settle down once they get that running attack going and once they start getting some receivers healthy.
Well, Oliveira had back-to-back 100-yard games for the first time in his career, and then they come out last week in a big ball game and he rushes for 49 yards, and they can't do that. This offensive line has been a problem. Yeah. I felt like Zach has not felt comfortable back there.
There you go.
And what he has to do is he has to get Oliveira involved. They play better when that happens, when he's able to rush and it takes some of the pressure off of him. Yeah. He's got to keep those guys away. Again, he's starting to get used to the. We had Ontario Wilson had a great game a couple weeks ago.
A
great game, and then he answered it with not much. And Josh Johnson still hasn't done anything. So Wolotarski's playing a new position. This is like a new team for Zach.
This team, over the last 2 seasons before this, they lost a total of 7 games. They lose this game. They're 2-6. It's time to press the panic button. It's serious problems, serious concerns if they start the season 2-6.
It'd be interesting to see if they make any adjustments, too. I mean, we see Rasheed Bailey was just let go by the Toronto Argonauts. So, I mean, if I'm the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now, I'm picking him up immediately.
Thank you, Kate. Yeah. You know, I was like, what is going going on? You know, I was asking everybody that question yesterday I could talk to, and it was like, that's a guy that I don't think they realized how important he was to the football team until he was gone. And the fit here in Toronto didn't work. Yep. He's out there, Kate. I think that's a pretty quick solution to trying to get that offense back.
Well, they've got to turn things around fast.
Maybe like Janarian Grant, who they also let walk away.
Well, that one. And can you imagine if Janarian gets another touchdown tonight against his former team?
The first man in history.
It's almost too perfect.
To have a touchdown in 4 straight games. Wow.
Yes, sir. That's what that game time. You know what time it is?
Ride, baby. Let's ride. Game day. Let's go.
Breaks through. Big hole. Big run. Still going. Oliveira. Breaking tackles. Down inside the 15. And the big man's rumbling, isn't he? Finds the hole. And more Kadeem Carey. Ripping off his biggest run as an Argo. Touchdown Carey. Bounces out 2 and 3. Touchdown Argos.
Top 2 running backs on display tonight. Argos running back Kadeem Carey is the most popular pick to score a touchdown tonight at FanDuel. Here's a look at the 5 most popular anytime TD props. The Toronto defense makes the list again this week. Nearly 4-to-1 odds. Shamar Bridges, who has scored in 3 of Hamilton's previous 4 games, is 4th on the list and could still be found at plus money over at FanDuel. It's time to reveal the experts, though, and they really know what they're doing around here. They spent all day researching who is going to score touchdowns, and Jim knows it for sure. 100% guarantee that who is scoring a touchdown?
I'm so starving for a correct pick.
Okay.
That the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are the worst team in the league against the rush by quite a bit. So I'm taking Kadeem Carey. It may even be a long one.
Yeah, and just feeding the rock, and chances increase. So feel like I've been chasing the money, the plus money that is, and I'm off of the Toronto defense scoring. It's like the last couple of weeks I was chasing that, didn't happen.
You know it's gonna happen.
I am going to Wolotarski
Definitely happening tonight.
Wolotarski is due for a brew, and the only way you can have a brew is if you get in the end zone, Milt. I'm going Wolotarski.
History will be made tonight. Janarian Grant will be the first player in CFL history to have 4 straight return touchdowns. It will be made, and how fitting that it's going to happen against his former team, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You notice I said not if, but when. It's going to happen tonight. Janarian Grant will be the first individual to score 4 straight.
But the big question is will the hair be out or will it be tucked in tonight as well? This is going to be interesting,
we'll
isn't it?
out.
Will all locks be in
I
place?
actually was just told he has it in a ponytail.
What?
Yeah, we're getting live breaking news on the hair.
Was that Shinetti?
It's not Shinetti. It's our producer, Jamie, and I have absolutely no idea how he knows. He's currently looking at shots. By the way, I decided to pick, I went Brady O in this one because I love the rushing game in this game tonight because we have the 2 top rushers. But you know what, too? I was chasing the money as well. I got greedy because I just had some good picks off the top, and I'm done with it. I just want to win now. So I'm taking Brady Oliveira as we take a look at everyone's pick one more time. Jim, I like your pick. Kadeem, Cash, and Carey. Matt, you like Drew Wolotarski. I like Kate. Brady O. And Milt, I absolutely love your pick of Janarian Grant to get 4 straight tonight.
Amazing.
How incredible would that be? With more on Janarian, let's send it over to Dwayne Ford.
Thanks, Kate. And you know, I have heard talk in the studio that our friend Jim Barker is a huge fan of South American pop music icon Shakira. Now, it's not so much about her music, but it's about Jim's belief that the hips don't lie. I think this is very true in the game of football. Whether you are a pass rusher trying to beat a blocker or a receiver trying to beat a defensive back in man-to-man coverage, so much of winning is about getting your opponent to turn their hips in one direction so you can go in another direction. How this pertains to Janarian Grant is he does a fantastic job with his change of direction in getting his opponents to turn their hips so that he can change ways and cut back on them. I want to take a look at how he's done that on some of his recent punt return touchdowns. We'll go back a couple games to the Saskatchewan game. He attacks the wide side. Watch how all 3 of these defenders, first of all, they're in a straight line, but they're all committing to the wide side. Turn their hips over pursuing to that side. Janarian sticks his foot in the ground, gets north-south. Watch how all 3 overrun him. Can't recover the cutback. He's left one-on-one with the kicker. Kickers do not get paid to make tackles. Janarian takes this one to the house First one in his streak of 3 straight games with a return touchdown. Here against Hamilton. Threatens the wide side. Carthel Flowers-Lloyd, one of the best in the league, overruns him trying to protect that wide side. He's got his hips turned. Janarian sees it, sticks a foot in the ground north-south. He's got a lane. Next level. Fake outside. These guys again. Hips turned to the wide side. He cuts it back around 3 guys. Left again, one-on-one. Just him against the punter. Punters get paid to punt, not to tackle. Another house call for Janarian Grant. 3 in a row, looking to make it a record 4. So the big question coming into this game is, how do you contain Janarian Grant? One theory, obviously, try and pull his hair. I don't think that's worked. So you've got to be very disciplined, obviously. Stay in your lanes. You saw in a couple of those returns, guys following the same colored jersey, leaving themselves out of position. You've got to be disciplined, fill the lanes, so that you're less vulnerable to that cutback. And one of the things that I would look at doing, obviously, is sacrificing some of your distance on your punts for hang time to ensure that players get down there in time to be broken down rather than in position where they're still running, still chasing, getting caught with those hips turned in pursuit. We'll see how it goes tonight.
Dwayne Ford, I never really knew that you could break down plays like that.
Wow.
Anyone? No? I tried to do my best. Big Shakira guy, eh?
guy.
Hey, JB?
I wish I knew who she was.
You move your hips just like her, Coach.
You don't know who Shakira is.
I really don't.
Okay, we are going to figure stuff out at the commercial break, but right now we need to go to Straight Fire. JB, we got to help you out here.
Sorry.
This is ridiculous. You know what? It is Canada's favorite news segment, Straight Fire. Guelph Minor Griffins against Brantford. Ali Yunus with the tip. Patty Kuziak picks up and makes a house call. Part of a 38-6 win for Guelph. How pretty is that? That is what we like to call Straight Fire.
It's the quarterfinals, and the Waterloo Warriors are backed up against their own goal line until Lachlan Tilt steps in, cuts back, scampers 110 yards, looking a little bit like a young Janarian Grant.
Those hips don't lie, huh, Coach?
He carries the Warriors into this week's semifinals. Lachlan Tilt.
Oh, my goodness.
Love it.
Yeah, well, she's going to make it.
That's straight fire.
That is straight fire. Flag Plus Football, Montreal Mongoose defender Vincent Antille goes up and says, thank you very much. Pick in the end zone. That vaults this team with a major pick and straight fire. And that vaults them into the playoffs, semifinals, baby.
Well, we got to go down to Tampa, Florida for this one. The U11 Sask Cade Szynski with the throw to Knox Ryan for the great catch and run into the end zone. These Canada boys went down and put it on these Tampa boys in front of who, Kate?
Florida man.
In front of Florida man. It doesn't matter if it's hot, if it's humid. We still find a way to keep it straight fire.
There's a lot of pop culture references in one segment. Poor JB is just shaking his head at this one. By the way, we want a new segment. It's going to be called Straight Ember. So they're younger players coming in, submitting highlights. And how adorable is this? Hannah Atwood, 6 years old, Regina Youth Flag Football. Look at her. She faked out everyone. Even the camera got faked. Oh, look at her. She's so proud. Hannah. Straight fire,
That's
straight
awesome.
embers, we like.
Straight embers.
Have you learned Shakira yet? Whenever,
Not yet.
like whenever, wherever?
Did she sing the La Police song?
No. Oh my good. You know, please, we got to go to Matthew Shinetti, who's standing by with Tyrell Ford. We need to help this man.
Move your hips, Coach. Just move your hips.
Well, Tyrell, Ryan Dinwiddie says he's going with Cameron Dukes, but do you want to force his hand to make a decision at quarterback by attacking Dukes right away?
I mean, for us, it doesn't matter who's quarterback. We have our game plan. We're ready for both guys. The thing that's not going to change is us, so we just got to make sure we execute, and we'll be fine.
How have you found your comfort level and your athleticism kind of come back to the Canadian game this season? And what are your goals for this year?
I mean, obviously our goal is to win every week, you know, take it 1 week at a time. But the game has really slowed down for me, especially at field corner. I have a little bit more time to react, and I can rely on my speed. So it helps, but yeah, it's good. I love the game. I love Canadian football.
Thanks, Tyrell.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Some sad news to pass along as the CFL family lost Peter Martin this past week. The former player and Hall of Fame broadcaster was 83 years old. Our condolences to his family and friends. Special teams TDs in 3 straight games, 2 on punt returns, 1 from a kickoff. 1 more would put him in the CFL record books. Amazing to think that back on May 28th, this man was unemployed. He has been sensational and may even go down in the books tonight. Here he is with our Matthew Shinetti.
Marion, have you found the key to getting a return yet? You get them so often, and tonight, if you take another one to the house, you set a single-season record.
It's been great, you know. I got to give it to all my guys. The key to success, you know, is just make sure we do our alignments, our assignments, you know, make sure we finish. We just got to play Argos football. That's it.
As you've been a part of the special teams under coordinator Mickey Donovan, how has that helped?
A lot more, you know, just being able to use what I can use and seeing what he's seeing, you know, just take it to the field and just using my fundamentals.
And did it hurt last week with your dreads, and are you going to protect them a little bit this week?
Yeah, I'm going to have to start tucking them in now. That's like twice that done happened, you know, but it didn't hurt at all. But I seen the dread on the ground, and I was kind of pissed, but, you know, it's all good. It happens in football. You just got to continue to play football and, you know, do your best.
Appreciate it. Have a good game.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Janarian Grant, let me tell you, as someone who has had a chunk of hair pulled out, that does not feel nice whatsoever. And look, we had this debate right away, and understandably so, that, you know, should the hair be part of the uniform? And it was really interesting how fired up this panel got about it. Personally, I think it should be, because then you can't get to the back of the jersey, right? I mean, you got something impeding in the way, so that makes sense to me that it is part of the uniform. But what do you believe, Coach?
Well, I think the way it's called right now, if you want to wear it out there, you do it at your own risk. And like I said, we'd seen it happen before. You know, he can tuck it away like he's doing now. And he had the right attitude in that interview. I wanted to know if it hurt. I mean,
I think he's lying.
It was a full.
He's lying.
He's let hurt.
He said it didn't hurt.
That hurt. That had to hurt.
Yeah, you open yourself up to just that if you wear your hair like that. And he knows, he understands, he's going to tuck it in because he's tired of getting yanked down by that. And look, he's one of the best we've seen in a long, long time. And he's chasing some greats. Tonight, Milt, I think you got him. Anytime touchdown. And I absolutely love that. And I don't think hair's going to be a problem because it sounds like he's
not going to get close to him anyway.
Yeah.
You know, if they did make it, think about it. If you're a coach, I'd say, guys, just everyone get long wigs. Or I remember I played with a guy like Abi Khan. He had hair all on him. Just don't go out there with a jersey on. They couldn't grab you or whatever. So I don't think it should be different from what it is right now.
I agree.
It's just part of the game. It's unfortunate that you can do it, but it is what it is.
Hold on. How would a player like you, though, grow out his hair?
I get a wig.
What?
I get a wig.
Here we go.
Oh, you don't.
Come on, Milt.
How perfect.
Yep.
Okay.
It's like carrot top.
So I'm not believing Janarian Grant that didn't hurt. Maybe we could reenact a little bit. Okay, I like this. I like this a lot.
Hey, Milt. That's a new look.
Yeah, I like this.
I like it, Milt.
Conveniently, I changed into my running shoes here.
Oh, look.
Okay, but hold on. I'm supposed to tackle you.
You can try.
Well, you got to turn around. I'm not tackling. I'm not Enoch here. Yes! I got one!
You got one!
I got one!
But he's still running.
No, look at check.
It's not flag football.
Should I fall down?
Yeah, you should absolutely fall down.
There, now he's down.
And tell us, Janarian, did it hurt?
You know what?
Okay, here it goes.
I can sew it back in.
Yeah.
I really didn't feel it. Back when I had hair, when I had my long ponytail.
How long ago was that?
That was probably 30, 40 years ago.
Like never? Come on, Milt.
I like this, though.
Yeah. You know what? I think we should take a vote, a fan vote. Milt, you know, get your email out there. Or text TSN. Freaking email TSN. Milt, that's a good look. That's a good look on you.
Yes. I wouldn't want to play football with this.
Very quick.
I wouldn't want to play
quick
football.
question: does he break the record tonight?
Yes.
Yes, Matty.
Guaranteed.
Yes. Be positive,
I love it.
right?
I love it.
I just want him to so bad.
I do too.
Do you like that look?
No. Do you want to stay married? I'm just saying.
My wife, she's in too deep. She's not going anywhere. she leaves me. She knows it's downhill. I'm the best there is, baby.
Oh, here we go.
This is it.
Wind them up, baby.
With them kids, as costly as they are, she's not going anywhere.
It has been a roller coaster season for this young man. Pulled from the game last week in favor of Nick Arbuckle. Cameron Dukes getting another shot as the starting QB tonight. Question is, how long will we see him play? On the opposite side, someone who'd like to see a lot of Cameron Dukes is Willie Jefferson. 16 tackles, 3 sacks so far this season, but the Bombers need so much more in uncharted waters right now at 2-5. It is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers taking on the Toronto Argonauts in a little Saturday night football in downtown Toronto. Kate Burness alongside Milt Stegall, Matt Dunnigan, and the man whose hips don't lie, Jim Barker. We're all excited to be here. Time for some key matchups. I'm never letting that one go. Starting with you, Milt Stegall.
I'm going Janarian Grant against his former teammate, now special team coach for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Mike Miller. Janarian Grant has an opportunity to make history tonight. He'll be the first player in CFL history to score 4 straight return touchdowns, and Mike Miller is the man who's trying to stop him. He's not on the field, but he's trying to design the special teams play to make sure Janarian Grant doesn't get in the end zone.
Yeah, leads CFL history in special teams tackles. He's liable to come off the field and tackle himself, right? Get another one, put it up on the board. You know, I always thought that Cam Dukes, Kate, it was like he got hurt in that ball game, you know, to justify that replacement. But my guys I'm looking at tonight, folks, at home, just watch Biggie against Kadeem Carey and then watch McManus against Brady Oliveira. And you're going to watch some smash mouth football. And if those guys touch the football often enough, it should be a war out there.
Well, in typical fashion, I'm going to take the Winnipeg offensive line against the Toronto defensive line. Because
surprise.
Because if Winnipeg can't block, this is going to be a long night for them. Brady Oliveira needs to be able to run it, and they need to be able to protect Zach.
Coach, it's going to be a physical
game. But you know
game.
something I want to see, Coach? I got to see you get up and move those hips.
Yeah.
Come on, Coach.
You can dance like this. Do it. The country wants it. Just a little dance for the country.
Just get us a little something, Coach. You can do it better than Shakira.
Oh, we have to go to commercial. This is we could have, we didn't need the player shots this time. We needed shots of JB dancing. Thanks a lot, producer in control room.
We're working on it.
Oh, now he's dancing and no one can see it.
Thank you, Kate Burness. We welcome you to Toronto on a beautiful summer Saturday night in the Argos' first home game in nearly a month. Their first time this season facing the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 2 teams that met in the Grey Cup 2 years ago, won the respective divisions last year, but they're still trying to find their way, Dwayne, this time around, each of them. One thing they do have, the running game. 2 top running backs going head-to-head tonight. You've got Kadeem Carey, you've got Brady Oliveira, last year's rushing leader.
Yeah, and both these guys obviously have been fantastic, but Brady in particular is finding his groove in recent weeks. A slow start to the season, banged up a little bit in training camp, but he's looking like 2023 Brady Oliveira in recent weeks. Kadeem Carey banged up a lot last year in Calgary, but we've talked a lot about what a terrific fit he has been for this Toronto Argonaut team that signed him in free agency. Great with a young quarterback to have to rely on.
Ryan Dinwiddie started his CFL career as a player with Winnipeg. A lot of success as head coach in Toronto. And Mike O'Shea had a lot of success as a player with the Argos. Hall of Fame career leader and assistant. And now this is year 10 as head coach in Winnipeg. And they are missing that man, Janarian Grant, who left as a free agent for the Argos. And Deontay McMahon is back for this opening kickoff as well. The Bombers won the toss. They deferred. So they will send it the Argos way from Sergio Castillo Saturday night in Toronto. Glad you can be with us for the CFL on TSN. Ex-Bomber Janarian Grant. And you heard all the talk about him. 3 straight games to tie a record with a return touchdown. Looking to break that record tonight, but a short return as on comes Cameron Dukes, starting quarterback again. We do wonder if we'll see Nick Arbuckle tonight.
Yeah, Cameron Dukes had some struggles, obviously, in the Hamilton game, 1-3 in his last 4 outings. Nick Arbuckle looked sharp down the stretch, trying to engineer a comeback against the Ticats. But Cameron Dukes remains the starter. He's done plenty of good things this season, continues to progress, which is the main thing you're looking for from a young quarterback at this level.
They fell behind early against the Ticats. Arbuckle came on late in the game and came close to a comeback there for Toronto, but they fell to 3-3. They're on the ground to begin. The leading rusher in this CFL, Kadeem Carey, had the ball and a good pickup on first down. Let's take a closer look at that Argo offense.
Yeah, an offensive line that this team considers to be one of its strengths. And, of course, Dejon Allen, the leader from his right tackle position. The receiving corps welcomes back Dave Ungerer. He comes off the injured list. Rasheed Bailey released this week as the Argos get some of their Canadian receivers back. One less American starter in the receiving corps as they've lost a Canadian starter on D. So in terms of balancing that ratio, Rasheed Bailey becomes a victim of that. Dave Ungerer in the starting line.
Kadeem Carey got 6, second and 4. A little play fake. And then the throw, and that's to Janarian Grant, who doesn't get a lot of touches on offense and doesn't get much yardage there, as it's a 2-and-out for Toronto, and they will have to punt it away.
Yeah, I think you were looking at a play there with Janarian Grant designed to be a little bit of a decoy. So often when you see the returners come into the game on offense, you anticipate that the team is looking for a way to get them the ball, that it's a limited package. Janarian Grant that time came across the formation, just released into the flat, ended up being an outlet, but I don't think that that was a primary option.
The returner back for Winnipeg is Cody Case. Third one they've tried to replace Janarian Grant this season. And Case on the return, his second game on returns for Winnipeg, gets it up across the 35. And here comes Zach Collaros. Future Hall of Famer, no question about that, and has been such a star in Winnipeg, but this has been his most difficult start this season.
Yeah, a slow start, obviously, to the season for Zach Collaros, but I think that the changes that have gone on in terms of Winnipeg's roster have been somewhat understated, and especially when you factor in the injuries, how those have impacted the receiving corps in particular, where really the familiar faces with whom he's had a lot of interaction are only Wolotarski and Dembski.
A lot of change, and that's made a difference. Taking it to Oliveira, and there's one of the new receivers this season, Josh Johnson, caught it, and Benji Franklin coming in as Johnson went down for maybe a loss of some yardage there.
As we look at this Winnipeg Blue Bomber offense, along that offensive line, you've got center Chris Kolinkowski, originally a Toronto Argonaut draft pick. In the receiving corps, we'll get a look tonight at Kevin Sklerzius. Quebec native, played his university ball at Connecticut. Second-round pick this season. A guy filling some of the shoes of Rasheed Bailey, actually, in the Winnipeg offense.
Second down and 11 after that loss of 1. Throwing, and it is caught, too, at the 50. Ontario Wilson has it. He had a big day a few weeks ago, over 200 yards receiving. That is a first down, Winnipeg.
And the key to allowing this to develop, keeping that pocket clean. Nice job by the offensive line coming off on the twist. And you get a sense of the chemistry that Ontario Wilson has quickly developed with his veteran quarterback, Zach Collaros.
It was last week against Saskatchewan. He had only 2 catches for 48, but the week before against the Stampeders, 13 catches, 201 yards, and a touchdown. First and 10, up closer to midfield. Collaros working to the right. That one is caught. It is Kevin Sklerzius, the rookie, drafted 13th overall by the Bombers in 2024, and up against this Argo defense.
Yeah, the Argos along that defensive line lost Jared Brinkman last week. He goes to the 6-game injured list. We'll see a lot of Ralph Hawley. Hopefully we'll have an opportunity to talk about him a little more as this game goes on. And the linebacking core, Robert Priester continues to man the nickel linebacker spot with Quincy Moget down. Tavares McFadden returns to the Argos after being released at the end of camp. Comes back and takes over the field corner. Jonathan Edouard to the injured list.
Pick up a 7, second and 3. Brady Oliveira still running. Ball comes out. They lose it. It's picked up by Royce Metchie. He had a great run inside the Argo 35. He coughed up the football, and the Argos have it. Second leading rusher in the Canadian Football League on his first touch. It comes out, and it's scooped up by Metchie.
A big turnover moments ago. Watch Fraser Sopik in pursuit. Eyes on the ball. He knows that Oliveira doesn't see him coming. Goes for the ball as he wraps up, squeezes the arms, punches that ball loose. Big turnover there for the former Calgary Stampeder and Hamilton Tiger Cat, arriving as a free agent.
Western, and apologies to Royce Metchie, changing recently the pronunciation of his last name. Force of habit there. Metchie with the pickup. And pressure, and coming in to take him down. That's Retta Cramdy in on Cameron Dukes as Winnipeg brought some heat, and they'll force a 2nd and long now.
How about that for back-to-back big plays by Canadian linebackers coming from the left side of your screen. Watch for number 6, nickel linebacker. Going to flash into the picture. Comes free on the play, the University of Montreal product. He and Patrice Rene, the only Canadians in the league starting at that position. Both doing a fantastic job.
So back to the Argo 27 and a 2nd and 17 for Dukes. Stands in, still has time. Pressure comes, gets rid of it. Nearly intercepted by Michael Griffin. Oh my goodness, if he could have hung on to that ball, there was daylight ahead. Possible pick 6 instead. Punting situation coming up here for the Argos.
Yeah, dangerous one there for Cameron Dukes. You see that he's got some time initially on this play, but by the time he spots the receiver, wants to get it there, he can't step forward. He's got 2 defenders right in front of him, can't step into the throw. Little velocity. That allows Michael Griffin time to get there and very nearly come up with the INT.
So John Haggerty stands inside the Argo 15 to get this one away. The 2nd in the CFL in net punting average, and a good one there to Cody Case, breaking it to the left. And good return to get it up closer to the 45 for the Bombers. CFL on TSN Saturday night in Toronto. Last week against the Riders, Zach Collaros went over 30,000 yards passing in his remarkable career. A lot of that yardage coming at a time when it didn't look like his career would be extended much longer, and then really took off when he arrived in Winnipeg.
Yeah, it certainly did. Sometimes you just get that perfect connection between a player and a team or a player and a system. That has definitely been the case. And it's not as if Zach struggled earlier in his career. He's obviously been a very good quarterback in this league. But yeah, things really took off for him as a Blue Bomber.
Throwing to Josh Johnson. And a short pass on 1st down, picks up about 3 yards on that play. No, you're right. Collaros starting his career here in Toronto, actually. Backing up Ricky Ray, played a lot in 2013 and earned himself a chance to sign with Hamilton and be their #1 QB. And before he got hurt in 2015, would look like he was on pace to be the most outstanding player in the CFL that year.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that relationship with his Hamilton offensive coordinator, Tommy Condell. Now taking care of business in Ottawa with Zach's former backup, Drew Brown.
2 memorable stints in Toronto. The second one, he didn't play for the Argos, but the Argos traded him to Winnipeg late in 2019. Off to Oliveira. A short pass again, but he gets close to a 1st down. Very close. Looks like he's about a yard shy.
You see Oliveira going airborne, immediately looking to the sideline for that 1st down marker.
3rd down, about a foot away. Chris Strebler on and short yardage. Keeps it right side. Big body of Strebler has more than enough. He gets the midfield and crosses that line. So easy 1st down. At least Strebler made it look that way as they get to midfield.
Well, very much like bringing in your fullback to take the snap, as we've seen some other teams go to this year. BC at times, Hamilton as well. Using the big back. Winnipeg just happens to have the luxury of that guy also being able to throw the rock.
Their 2nd leading rusher, of course, behind Oliveira. Had a big day running the football in his lone start this season when Collaros was hurt. Collaros now, big toss, open receiver, who hangs on. The rookie, Kevin Clarcius, had to take a pop, but hangs on to the football for the biggest play for this Bomber offense this game, down to the 26 of Toronto.
Yeah, absolutely love this play from Kevin Clarcius. He knows the hit is coming as he's going down the seam. Metier closing, but all of his attention on the football, secures the catch even after the big collision, managing to hold on. This is a guy who was one of the stars of the CFL Combine this year. Turned a lot of heads. Continues to impress here in his rookie season.
Clarcius. So now 1st down and another target. Ball comes out. It was caught by the looks of things by Ontario Wilson and then lost a handle on the ball. So what's the ruling here?
Yeah, we'll take a closer look. to ensure, or at least determine whether or not Wilson had caught it, secured it. It appears that he did. Brought it into his body, took a couple of steps upfield before being stripped.
It's Benji Franklin coming in and alert by Wilson to make sure he can get the handle on the ball again.
Yeah, big punch down on the ball by Franklin to pop that one free. Unfortunately, none of his teammates able to get that one. Big recovery. Big catch for Ontario Wilson.
Gets it down just outside the 10. It's a 1st and 10. Winnipeg's knocking on the door early in this game. Into the red zone, handing off to Oliveira. Left side, and some second effort as he picks up a few more yards. Looks like he has it down to about the 7 and a gain of 4. Second down coming up.
Getting in behind that big offensive line. Oliveira doing his thing, churning his legs to move the pile.
Bombers are 10 for 20 in the red zone. They also have the fewest passing touchdowns in the CFL with only 3. It's a challenge for Buck Pierce and that offense with all these new receivers. Passing situation here in a 2nd and 6 at the Argos 7 in a scoreless tie. Caleras looks to the end zone. Coverage is there and it's knocked away. Some good defense by Tavares McFadden, who comes back to the Argos this week with the injuries that they've been dealing with and breaks up a play as they were looking for the end zone and a touchdown for Drew Wolotarski.
Yeah, fantastic timing on that play, going up to get the ball. Is Tavares McFadden. A good sense of the spacing he has there. He's got help over the top from Deshaun Amos, so he can play underneath the receiver. Just times that leap, get the ball at his highest point.
Back with the Argos, making a play. Sergio Castillo in the short field goal try is good. So the first point's on the board. The Bombers went right down, threatening for the touchdown. The Argos, I'm sure with this, happy to limit them to 3 on that breakup, knockdown by McFadden. Last week, Cameron Dukes was replaced by Nick Arbuckle late in that game. With more in that QB situation, we're happy to give a big welcome back to Matthew Shinetti. Matt?
Good to have your voice in my ear, Rod. I got to get back to game speed. Well, let's talk about the speed that is existing between Cameron Dukes and Nick Arbuckle. Really, right now, it's a friendship. Absolutely, that Cameron Dukes is on the field right now. And really, Nick Arbuckle is going to be supportive. Now, I asked Ryan Dinwiddie this before the game, and he said that both quarterbacks might get an opportunity, but this is right now Cameron Dukes' team. No short leash, no pitch count, but what they're building in the quarterback room is also pretty special between the both of them. Nick Arbuckle is trying to give Cameron Dukes some relationship advice, while Cameron Dukes is trying to give Nick Arbuckle some fashion advice. But with the Chad Kelly situation looming, both aren't worried about what the dynamic is. They're just trying to build a constructive room, and when I was talking to them before the game, they both went ahead and said, man, we just like each other, we want to win. Rod?
Welcome back, Matthew, again, and here's Dukes rolling out, hitting his target. That's Mackay Polk. And he breaks free. He stays in bounds as a first down and more. Up inside Bomber territory, inside the Winnipeg 50.
Well, it doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball. I think Mackay Polk has looked pretty good in his first season as a Toronto Argonaut. First-year player here getting an opportunity. Working out of the slot, a little closer to the QB. Great effort after the catch there.
Young budding star, and by the way, the news this week, just recently, this would have been Rasheed Bailey's first game against his old team, but he was just let go by the Argos. Play action fake, lots of time. Dukes complete. Tavares Daniels, his first catch of this game, down close to the 30 of Winnipeg. So quickly, the Argo offense moving right back downfield.
Tavares Daniels going to work, isolated against Terrell Ford. To the boundary side, nice comeback route there. Push the defender deep. Break it off, work back to the ball.
Daniels, a veteran, came into the CFL back in 2016, Rookie of the Year with Calgary, went on to Edmonton, and then he's been with the Argos since 2021. From the Winnipeg 33, handing off, that's Dan Adebaboye, and he's going nowhere. Coming in, Adam Bighill. Also Jamal Woods.
Yeah, a lot of change on that D-line, but always a familiar face in the Acadia product, Jake Thomas, at his defensive tackle spot. Tony Jones gets a look at the will linebacker spot with Kyrie Wilson going to the injured list this week. And in the secondary, keep an eye on the free safety. Brandon Alexander continues to be one of the best in the Canadian Football League.
In his 7th year out of Central Florida. Running out of time again as Dukes is sacked for the 2nd time in this game. And once again coming in, Retta Kremdy, the coverage linebacker, getting the heat on Dukes, who just ran out of time. 2nd sack for Kremdy.
And Kremdy moving around a little bit here, coming off the edge. Out on that wide side. You see him picked up, but just as Dukes is dancing around in that pocket pretty close to his offensive line, Kremdy able to reach out and get his clutches on the Argo QB.
Lyra Myralau on to tie this game from the 48, 50-17, longest of 48 this season. Hayes matched that. Field goal, Myralau and the Argos in a 3-3 tie Saturday night at BMO Field in Toronto. This was moments before this game tonight. The Argos losing Peter Martin, who passed away earlier this week. Pete Martin was a linebacker for the team, a great ambassador for the Argos, longtime radio broadcaster for them as well. There's Mike Hogan, who worked many years in the broadcast booth and radio for those Argo broadcasts. But Pete Martin, a great figure in the Canadian Football League and recently honored by the organization as well. And see the stickers on the helmet. PM for Pete Martin. Coached in high school in Mississauga, and among his many players that he influenced, guy beside me, Dwayne Ford. First down, throwing Colaris. And that's the Drew Wolitarsky for a first down. And I know you knew him well, your former high school coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And all of the positives you have heard lauded upon Pete Martin over the course of the last few days. Understatement, to say the least. One of the finest people you could ever meet. I have often said that as far as my own football career, one of the things that I am most proud of is the list of people for whom I have played, and Pete Martin is very much on that list. You know, outside of my family, as big an influence on my life as there is. So he will be missed.
Well put. And I know a lot of us, just being around the CFL a long time. By the way, Chris Trebler, the carry to get the first down. Wolitarsky was just shy, but and Mike Hogan wrote so much about it. But I remember any time I talked to Pete, everything was CFL, everything was Argos. He bled double blue. He loved talking football so passionately.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the ground, Brady Oliveira has back his way closer to midfield. A short pickup as we get late in the first quarter. You saw the shots of Joe Theismann beside him, and Theismann started for the Argos at quarterback in 71, but this happened on defense. Jerry Keeling in Calgary intercepted 77 Pete Martin. That was a heartbreak for the Argos, as it would turn out. The fumble by Leon McQuay in the rain at Empire Stadium in Vancouver, but Martin prominent on that Argo defense for several years until 72.
Yeah, and a terrific player. I mean, depending what generation you are of, I guess impacts how you know Pete Martin, but whether it's as a player, whether it was as a coach, as a broadcaster, whatever it may be, but always in some way connected to Double Blue.
And there's one of the greatest linebackers the Argos have ever had, who knew Pete Martin very well for all his time here with Toronto, and well aware of the significant loss in this city in the football community. And the Bombers on that incompletion have to punt. Jamison Sheehan in, and it is Janarian Grant to say, looking to stand alone in the record book to make it 4 straight games with a return touchdown. He tied the record last week in Hamilton at 3 with 2 others, Gizmo Williams and Chris Williams, and he won't get a chance here. A beautiful punt by Sheehan. Wow. Inside the 5 and out of bounds. No chance for Grant to get his hands on the football. So the first quarter comes to an end. These two teams trade field goals, and the Argos will start the second quarter deep near their end zone. Saturday night, first meeting of the year between Winnipeg and Toronto on TSN. We're through one quarter in Toronto. It's a 3-3 tie as we look at the numbers going through, and just 37 passing yards for the Argos, who are, Dwayne, making a change at quarterback. It will be Nick Arbuckle taking on. He's on the field and getting ready to go.
Yeah, and we knew that this was a possibility for the Argos, not just because of the way things ended last week. Nick Arbuckle obviously has played well in limited opportunity, but trying to give some different looks and give Arbuckle an opportunity to shine here.
When we talked to Ryan Dinwiddie a few days ago, he did mention that possibility. He, at the time, hadn't even decided who his starting quarterback would be, and it didn't sound like it really mattered because we got the idea that depending on how it was going, he was going to use both quarterbacks anyway. So Arbuckle coming in, who started his career with Dinwiddie as his quarterback coach in Calgary, later went to Ottawa, didn't end up playing at that point in time, went to Toronto. He was with the Argos for 5 starts in 2021, and then Edmonton, and then Ottawa a couple of seasons, back in double blue. First down, handing off. Kadeem Carey is met by Retta Crabtree. He's having himself a game, a couple of sacks, and he stops Carey in his track shy of the 5.
Yeah, Crabtree absolutely on fire here. Starts at depth on this play and is going to step up, reads it, watch him time it, and hit the gap, folding in behind the offensive lineman to make the play.
Retta Crabtree, 4th year out of the Montreal Canadiens program. Some big defensive plays for number 6 so far, Winnipeg, and a big second down for the Bomber defense. Arbuckle standing in his end zone. Faces the heat, dishes off to Carey, and he got away for a moment, but he can't elude them all. It's Taiwan Garbett coming in, getting the start at defensive end, and he finishes off that tackle at the 5, and the 3rd and long coming up here for the Argos.
Yeah, Garbett with a great job on the pass rush. Forces Arbuckle out of his rhythm. And the white jersey's just swarming after Kadeem Carey. But that defensive series, a lot of the aggressiveness Winnipeg's able to show there. It goes back to the punt by Jamison Sheehan that pins Toronto deep.
That was just a perfect punt. Another Aussie punter here is Haggerty, one of the best going in the CFL against the midfield. And that is Case in his 2nd game as the new returner for the Bombers, Cody Case. And they're already down to the 45 to start this drive of the Argos for Zach Collaros and that Winnipeg offense.
And this is where we use the term all the time about complementary football. Big play on special teams, sets up field position, allows the defense to play a certain way, go out and be aggressive at a time when the offense's playbook is limited, backed up in their own end, and look at the exchange it creates in terms of field position, which benefits your offense.
From the 45, Toronto, Zach Collaros, 1st and 10, quickly deflected. At the 2nd level, Winton McManus getting the hands up on Collaros and knocking that one away.
Well, Winton McManus impacts the game in so many different ways. You see him right in the middle here. Drops into his zone, looking at the eyes of the quarterback. He gets a jump on that one as he sees Collaros eyeing up the receiver. Nice reaction to bat that one away.
2nd and 10. The 45, and coming back and catching the ball. Deshaun Amos is on him. It's Ontario Wilson. Where will they spot it? How close? It is definitely a 3rd down coming up, but depending on the spot of the football, be an interesting decision here. Oh no, it's very close. It's Chris Strebler country here, less than a yard away. There he goes, out onto the field.
Yeah, Strebler on. Bringing back up offensive lineman Tui Ailey and Gabe Wallace with him. 600+ pounds of beef.
That'll help. Not to mention the body of Strebler himself, who runs it like a fullback and picks up 3 more yards and a 1st down. The sticks move for Winnipeg as this drive, starting with a short field, continues.
A nice execution there from the short yardage unit. Winnipeg staying with 6 offensive linemen in the formation here.
Bombers coming off a loss to Saskatchewan after winning their previous two after starting the season at 0-4 for the first time since 2012. Second and 10. Oh, Collaros is hit and taken down. As the pressure was coming, it's Benji Franklin coming in and forcing a field goal situation, or excuse me, a second and long situation back near the Argo 40.
Secondary blitz coming. You see Benji Franklin just entering the picture on the left side of your screen, unaccounted for. And Zach Collaros, veteran quarterback, has seen a lot of things over the course of his career. That blitz coming from the corner clearly even caught him off guard.
That's the first sack of the game for the Argo defense, pushing Winnipeg back into a 2nd and 19. Collaros completes it. Drew Wolotarski, and he cuts back but loses the ball, and Deshaun Amos has it. Second time this game, and it's Oliveira making the tackle, but the second time that the Bombers have popped it up after Wolotarski had the catch and couldn't hang on afterwards, took the hit, and is still down. After being hit there, Deshaun Amos with the ball. Argos offense coming on. Week 8 in the CFL season will wrap up tomorrow in Edmonton. It's the 1-5 Hamilton Tiger Cats up against McLeod Bethel Thompson and the Edmonton Elks, who have come so close and yet are still without a win. They're at 0-6. That is tomorrow at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific time from Commonwealth in Edmonton. Andrew Wolotarski being helped off after he was hit hard after the catch and lost control of the football. And this is what happened.
And the last thing that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers need is another injury in their receiving core already. Having been without Kenny Lawler and Dalton Schoen for so much of the season, I said off the top, their starting 5 from last year was only Wolotarski and Dembski remaining, and then there was one.
Nick Arbuckle at quarterback. He hands off to Kadeem Carey, who picks up a yard or two, but not much doing up front against that Bomber defense that had its issues against the run, but not so much tonight. Adam Bighill in the mix, as you'd expect.
Bighill continuing to be a presence. Counted on very much as a leader. We talked a little bit about this Winnipeg roster and the change that it underwent during the offseason. So many big names remaining that you forget really how many pieces they actually lost through the offseason to free agency and retirement.
Arbuckle airs it out deep, and it falls incomplete. He wanted Tavares Daniels. Michael Griffin was right there, down around the Winnipeg 15. And with that, it's 3rd and long, and John Haggerty will come back on and punt it away.
Yeah, Arbuckle taking a shot. Tavares Daniels going vertical here. Nice job on the protection to allow Arbuckle to step up and make this throw. Michael Griffin, former Calgary Stampeder, providing the coverage on that one.
Haggerty gets it away, a little shorter, off the hop. Cody Case takes it at the 30, and to the 35, he is ridden out of bounds, no further there. So a 2 and out, though, by the Argos after they benefited from the turnover. Zach Collaros back in Toronto. We'll have more on that from Matthew Shinetti coming up. When Zach Collaros comes back to Toronto, you know there'll be a lot of family here to watch him. Let's go back to Matthew.
Yeah, Rod, his family is here on the west side in section 121, his wife Nicole and his 3 children. It is quite amazing the career Zach Collaros has had. We talked to him about it yesterday. He has experienced everything. The highs of winning a Grey Cup, the lows of continuous injury. So we asked him what keeps him coming back. He has been in this league since 2012. I covered him when he started with the Argos, and he said the pursuit of the perfect play. Maybe a play just like that. Although, Rod, Zach Collaros is now in the field.
He took a hit, Matthew, after he got rid of it, completing that pass to Ontario Wilson. So good to see him get up. You're a little bit slowly and wincing, as you can see.
Keep an eye on Derek Parrish, first-year Argonaut coming off the edge here. And perhaps a little bit high. Looked like hands to the chest, though, more than any head contact.
Family contingent looking on. Cody Case in at receiver with the injury to Drew Wolotarski, and Brady Oliveira has that carry and gets it up closer to midfield. Matthew?
Now, to go back to that story, it's the pursuit of the perfect play. Really, for Collaros, when he walks into that room with the Blue Bombers, no one's talking about a 2-5 record. They're talking about the process, and that's always mattered to Zach Collaros. Whether he's worked with, as you've already mentioned, Tommy Condell or Scott Milanovic, or now Buck Pierce, that pursuit of excellence is important to him, but his family is so important. As I mentioned, his wife Nicole and 3 kids, they love the GTA. Collaros in the offseason still resides in Aurora, Ontario. Rob.
Thank you, Matthew. Passing now is Collaros, and looks fine as he hits Nick Dembski. The most familiar target with that injury-riddled Bomber receiving core is Dembski, always reliable, and picks up that first down Winnipeg.
Yeah, let me just see if I can find someone here that I know by name, I think is what Zach is thinking on this play. Nick Dembski. You called it his most familiar target, 1,000-yard receiver last season.
And it's Cody Case. We saw him as a returner, but as mentioned, he is in as a receiver now with the injury to Drew Wolotarski, and he has his first catch of this game as he picks up about 5 yards.
Yeah, performing double duty, big opportunity here for Case, particularly working out of that slot. We're so used to Drew Wolotarski having played the wide receiver, the Z position for Winnipeg over the years, but with injuries, they moved the veteran Wolotarski into the slot. And we see today Kevin Sklercius, the guy who's starting in what had usually been Wolotarski's wide-out position.
The injury spotter has requested number 8 Winnipeg be removed from the game.
It's not the first time it has happened to Zach Collaros. Recall a season opening game against Ottawa back in 2022. The injury spotter removing Collaros from this game. Here's again another look at the hit in question now.
Yeah, this would presumably go back to the hit by Parrish. Zach slow to get up and looking like he's experiencing a little discomfort. And you know, you mentioned he's gone through this at times before where he's been pulled from the game by the injury spotter. And I know Zach is a guy who really appreciates that rule and the spirit of it and looking out for the safety of the players.
So Chris Streveler's in. He had a start back in week 5. A flag is out as he runs around and throws on the run. Nearly caught by Wilson down at the 5 of the Argos. Couldn't hang on. Was mentioned a flag on the play. Streveler did win his lone start this season when Collaros was hurt, not able to play in week 5, mostly running the football. Referee Justin McInnes.
Offside, Winnipeg, number 84. The penalty is declined, 3rd down.
Receiver Josh Johnson is flagged for the offside, and what was an incomplete pass. It's a moot point now. It's a 3rd down, and field goal unit Sergio Castillo is coming on. And Collaros is heading off to the Bomber dressing room. This will be a 40-yard try for Castillo, which is the easier looking distance for him. No one has attempted more from beyond the 50 than Castillo. He's 5 for 7 beyond 50. 20 for 24 overall, and that one from 40 goes through. Another field goal for Castillo, doubling their score, and another 3-point lead, 6-3 Winnipeg. Winnipeg knows all too well what Janarian Grant can do on returns. This was 3 weeks ago against Saskatchewan, and that was an 84-yard punt return for a touchdown. And then the next week against Montreal, he had a kickoff return for a touchdown. And this last week, Dwayne, against Hamilton, tying a record 3 straight games with a return touchdown.
Trying to become the first to make it 4. Janarian Grant, another one of those perfect fit off-season signings for the Toronto Argonauts, replacing the big shoes left vacant by Javon Lee.
Argo football, Dan Adeboboye is the running back. He picks up 5 yards with Nick Arbuckle still in at quarterback. Yeah, Janarian Grant had 8 returns for touchdowns as a member of the Blue Bombers for 4 seasons. And 3 so far. As mentioned, he tied the record. Chris Williams in 2012 and the legendary Henry Gizmo Williams, the best of all time. And back in 1990, he did it 3 straight games.
Yeah, impressive company to say the least. Gizmo, considered the godfather, I think, of CFL returners. The first dedicated returner, guy who really didn't play much on offense, but had such an impact.
And there's Janarian Grant, the receiver. Seen him catch a couple tonight. Now one for a first down. I was also going to say about Gizmo. We saw that graphic. The biggest shoulder pads of any returner.
Yeah, certainly a bigger target for tacklers than today's returners. See Janarian Grant getting an opportunity on offense here. Big first down conversion there for the Toronto Argonauts.
Another catch for Grant. That's his 6th in the season, 2nd of the night. On the ground in the first down. And getting it up just across midfield on that running play for Dan Adeboboye in there for Kadeem Carey.
Yeah, Adeboboye averaged 7 yards a carry last year, and it wasn't a small sample size either. Adeboboye with over 40 carries last season, in relief primarily of A.J. Ouellette.
See Carey on the sidelines, the CFL's leading rusher, but just 15 yards for the Argos on the ground against the team that statistically has been worst against the rush this season so far. The Bomber defense stiffening up. 3-man rush on Arbuckle, who still has to run away from it, and throws and completes it too. And that's Richie Sindani on the catch, and he has a first down as Arbuckle completes that one and moves the sticks around the 46-yard line of the Bombers.
Yeah, you get a sense here of Arbuckle's experience, just that pocket presence, feels the rush coming, steps up, remaining poised, finding Richie Sindani. Sindani.
Adeboboye breaks free and gets down to the 26, his biggest run of the night. And I was just mentioning how they're having trouble finding yardage on the ground. They just got some there.
Yeah, certainly do it. Adeboboye with his explosiveness on full display on this play. Powerful runner.
Back in his hands, but no. He is met right away by the new weak side linebacker filling in for Kyrie Wilson. That is Tony Jones, former Edmonton Elk, getting his first start for Winnipeg.
That big play here. You'll see Tony Jones right on the right edge of your screen. Crashes down. He's the unblocked man. Making that play. Now see if the Argos take note of that. Maybe an opportunity for Arbuckle to pull the ball. Go bootleg in that direction.
See now in a 2nd and long after that lost yardage for Arbuckle. And he throws it in behind Demonte Coxie, who's still without a catch in this game. The intended receiver, 3rd down. And it'll be Hiralau coming on to see if he can tie this game once again.
Yeah, watch for the receiver crossing on the underneath. He's going to be right to left on your screen. Demonte Coxie. Ball is just thrown behind him here.
So this will be the last play before the 3-minute warning. John Haggerty is out to hold for Liram Hiralau. 1 for 1 on the night. We're going to make it a 6-6 tie from 37 yards away. And that is perfect. 2 for 2 in the evening. 3 more on the board. Tie ball game, late first half.
Coming up at the half, we have lots on Winnipeg. Their defense, their turnovers, what's going on with Zach. And this is for you, Dwayne Ford. In fact, Jim Barker's hips, they do lie.
What do they lie about?
They don't move.
They don't move?
No, you could dense like, no?
I've actually moved on from Jim's hips because in the pregame show, what really caught my attention was Kate saying that she had had a chunk of hair pulled out before. And I feel like there's a girl fight story here to be told.
I haven't. You said you've moved on from Jim's hips. So
wow. Happily, by the way.
We'll get more on that halftime as well. Kate in the panel. Coming up, catch Ontario Wilson in a 6-6 tie, 2nd and 1, 2:35 in the clock until halftime here at BMO Field. The Argos' first game back home in nearly a month. Chris Trebler in at quarterback. If you're just joining us, Zach Collaros was removed by the injury spotter from the game after taking a hit earlier in this quarter. So Strebler keeping it and stays in that role that he's had all game in short yardage. Gets it up near midfield and a first down. But staying in at quarterback, no, he is not. Collaros missed a few plays and back in.
After getting the all clear. Strebler setting him up nicely with a first down. Blue Bombers going to 7 offensive linemen again. This time with Collaros at quarterback, so we should get whether Brady Oliveira run or max protection in the pass game.
Collaros standing at his 50, handing off to Oliveira, cuts back to the left. And he is tackled there by Tavares McFadden, the corner coming in, but a good pickup on that first down by Oliveira to set up a 2nd and short.
Well, Oliveira coming off a Most Outstanding Canadian award. An award for which the competition gets tougher and tougher every year.
Doesn't it? And that I can see that being the case this year, too, with so many talented Canadians playing this game. Think of the receivers alone. You know, that running back who's been stellar for a few years now, Brady Oliveira. 2nd down and short. And back to him to pick up that yardage. More than enough as he gets it inside the 45 of the Argos. And a first down for Winnipeg. Late in the first half, just a minute and a half to go, and it has, as the scoreboard will tell you, been a tight one. Trading field goals.
And Winnipeg in this tight game may be kicking themselves a little bit with 2 first-half turnovers, both occurring within field goal range. So some points left out there.
They got it in the first quarter down inside the Argo 5. The pushback and then a throw into the end zone knocked away, so they had to settle for a field goal there. They've been able to move the football. Collaros again and a first down inside the 45. The heat's coming. He gets rid of it. And nowhere to be found as a Bomber receiver. The closest for the Argos is Deshaun Amos. That falls incomplete, and Collaros takes another hit after he gets rid of that football.
Robert Priester from his strong side linebacker position. Top left corner of your screen. Coming on the blitz. Unblocked man as Oliveira has to go to the backside to pick up Sopek. Zach knows he's got to get rid of the ball in a hurry. That one just not out quite fast enough, as you can tell that the throw was impacted by the on-rushing defender.
2nd and 10, Winnipeg. Tie ball game, late first half. Looking to retake the lead. Collaros stands in. Checks it down to Oliveira. Inside the 40. And a nice move, too, that he made right there to get it down closer to the Toronto 30. Making the move on Mark Milton, the new defensive back for the Argos.
Yeah, Oliveira doing a nice job out in space here. See him drifting towards the top of your screen to provide that outlet for his quarterback. Little fake outside.
And he's going down again. Another sack for the Argos is Zach Collaros. That time it's Ralph Hawley taking him down, forcing another 2nd and long.
Ralph Hawley getting an opportunity to get some more snaps here in this Toronto Argonaut defense with the injury to Jared Brinkman. Jordan Williams, American defensive tackle, also on the injured list. Sean Oakman, released earlier in the season.
First year at Western Michigan. First CFL sack for Ralph Hawley. Gets to Calera, second down. Steps in, and in traffic, gets knocked away. There were 3 Argo defenders around the intended receiver, Josh Johnson, who was down near the Toronto 20, but it falls incomplete. And it is time once again for Sergio Castillo.
Yeah, Argo's tightening up here. In terms of that coverage, McFadden first man in. Others joining along the way.
Tavares McFadden's made some plays in his return to the Argos for this season. In his season debut tonight. Here's Castillo, 2 for 2 from the 43. And it heads off wide to his left. Wide, and here's Janarian Grant. He gets it out. And he gets taken down. Liam Dobson, one of the ones there. And Tanner Cadwallader against the next teammate as Grant gets it out to the 10, though. At this point, no point giving up points. 16 seconds on the clock until the half.
Yeah, that one kicked deep into the end zone. A little bit of a precarious position for Janarian Grant catching that one. No room for bobbles or a step back to gather himself. That veteran returner does a nice job securing it and safely getting the ball out of the end zone, presumably for Neil down here to wrap up the first half.
As Nick Arbuckle does, takes a knee. Halftime coming up. In addition to a whole lot of football talk, maybe a bit about Kate Burness's hair and Jim Barker's hips. What do you think?
There would be a lot to unpack.
A lot of thoughts on this game, too, which is, yeah, it's a tight one. Just look at the board. Field goals. Bombers had a chance to go up by 3, but the miss. And it's a 6-6 tie, and Zach Collaros looking things over. Had to take a break, courtesy of the injury spotter a little earlier on, but seems fine now as both offenses have some work to do in the second half.
Yeah, battle of the field goal kickers through the opening 30 minutes.
And now let's go down to Matthew with Argo quarterback Nick Arbuckle.
Were you surprised when you came in that third series, or was this always part of the plan?
No, I was surprised. You know, we don't plan to not score touchdowns in every drive, so you want that success. You want to be rolling early on, and whoever starts the game, we want to finish because we're doing incredible out there. But whatever it takes to win, we're just going to adjust and adapt as the game goes on.
A few near misses. You tried to take a deep shot there. What are you going to be working on when you go into the locker room?
Just getting our offense going. Whatever it's going to take for us to score points, wherever the ball has to go, passing, running, whatever kind of passing we're going to do. Just got to move the ball consistently and keep our defense off the field.
Thanks, Nick.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Well, Kate, 6-6 and a couple of ineffective offenses right now.
And Matt, that's exactly where we're going to start with this panel. Jim Barker, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and Matty D. We got to talk about Zach Collaros here. He is getting a lot of pressure put on him. 2 sacks already for the Toronto Argonauts. And credit to the Argos D-line as well. We got to give them credit. But for Zach, he gets pulled by the spotter as well. Just can't really get into a rhythm. Just hasn't looked like himself again.
Yeah, I think it starts up front. And obviously pressure breaks pipes. And Odell Willis has said that for many, many years. And I love that line. As a quarterback, I get it. And so does Zach Collaros. Doesn't matter if you're a veteran or a young quarterback. You get hit. And this is why the spotter pulls him off, because he takes a little break there on the field after getting hit. And he's a little woozy, so justifiably they get him off the field. More pressure off the edge. Priester gets there, and he's throwing errant balls with pressure in his face. Tough first half, but as a veteran quarterback, he's going to stand in there. Zach went 15 of 20 for almost 170 yards. No turnovers, most importantly, because in a game like this, you can't get impatient. If you do, it'll bite you, and it'll be a quick 6 the other way. And by the way, Dorf and Climby, hey, I got your adjustment at halftime, Dorf, right there. The pocket square is really high. Milt, do you like that? No?
Dramatically high. Dramatically high.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, you know what? You talk about no turnovers for Zach, but Winnipeg Blue Bombers do have 2 turnovers. And in years past, they would turn the ball over, but they were so good they can overcome it. But now, they're not at that place anymore. This game is 6-6. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers have outgained the Toronto Argonauts 218 yards to 69 yards. But the big reason, I know they missed a field goal at the end, but the big reason is the turnovers. This team can't afford to do that. They're driving the ball, they're moving the ball, then you turn the ball over. And I know they're not trying to, but you have to find a way to not turn the ball over. It's 6-6. They're basically going against a quarterback who was the 3rd-team quarterback for the Toronto Argonauts. They can't allow this team to have a glimmer of hope. These Argos feel now we're in this game. We played one of the worst halves we played all year long, and it's 6-6. These Winnipeg Blue Bombers better come out and jump on this team early. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to beat them because these Argos feel that they have a chance.
Well, yeah, but how much of a chance when you have 69 yards of offense? This Winnipeg defense is getting after whoever the quarterback is. Quarterbacks are 6 of 9 for the Argos, 53 yards. I mean, you're not going to win games. Reddick Cramdy, they're bringing him from a lot of different spots, and he's also been key in their run defense. You're going to see a run here up the middle, and Cramdy's going to loop in from the outside, a one-on-one tackle, and he handles Kadeem Carey very well. So the Winnipeg defense is creating all kinds of problems. I don't know. The Toronto offense is going to have to show a heck of a lot more for them to get it back into this game.
Yeah, it's one of those games, though, where you have to play things close to your vest, because if you try to get outside of your comfort zone as well as these defenses are playing, bang, one play is going the other way.
That changes everything. One big play, yeah.
Janarian Grant looking for 4 straight.
We're looking at him to break loose.
That's all it takes.
Without those 2 fumbles, the two turnovers, be a different game.
Either way, 6-6 ball game, a whole other half coming up. But coming up after this, it is Dwayne Ford had a fantastic segment on how Janarian Grant's hips don't lie. Jim Barker didn't know who Shakira was, so we actually had to build this board so he can find out. She has had 1 Billboard #1 hit. She's had 6 top 10 hits. She's won 3 Grammy Awards in songs. Oh, and by the way, I love the fact that they put that you have an iPod still.
Oh, yeah, I do.
I heard you have an iPod Shuffle. Is this true?
No.
No?
No, but I do have an iPod, but there are no Shakira songs on it.
By the way, my father does know, and I think my 98-year-old grandmother also knows who she is. All right, this is enough of the Shakira talk forever on the panel.
Good, thank you.
Time for some straight fire. Guelph Minor Griffins against Bradford. Ali Jonas with the tip, and Patty Kuziak picks it up. He makes a house call, part of a 38-6 win for Guelph. And that is what we call it, TSN, Straight Fire.
Well, it's the quarterfinals in the Waterloo Junior Football League, and the Warriors are backed up until, yes, Lachlan Tilt steps in, turns up, cuts back. He strides like a young Milt Stiegel. Oh, wow. But he's fading.
Pimpleton.
He makes it, though.
He carries them into this week's semis with that pick six. Yeah. That is straight fire.
Flag Plus football, Montreal. Mongooses defender Vincent Antiel taking one away, sends his team to the semifinals. Take another look at it. It's like, give that to me. Just punked him right there. That's straight fire.
You know what? Let's go down to Tampa, Florida, the U11 SAS Select team. Quarterback Kay Szynski with the throw to Knox Ryan with the expensive catch, taking it into the end zone. Those Canadian boys put it on those Tampa boys in front of who, Kay?
Florida man.
In front of Florida man, baby. Doesn't matter if it's hot, humid, sweltering heat. You know why? Because the CFL on TSN panel always says what? Straight fire.
Don't forget to send your highlights to jamie.rydell@bellmedia.ca. We will feature you on this panel. Trust me, it's completely worth it. And how adorable is this one? We have to add this one more time. It's called Straight Ember instead. She's an ember like a tiny flame. Hannah Atwood, 6 years old, Regina Youth Flag Football League. What a fake. Did she fake you out, Coach?
Wow, she has some ability.
Are you signing her?
Not quite
yet.
yet.
My goodness, it's a child. You have to say yes.
Years.
No, don't just say yes. It's a joke.
Give her 2 more years.
2 more years.
When she's 8?
Yeah, she'll be a little better at cutting and things like that.
Oh my goodness! Now we are criticizing children. Can we get back to the football game?
Goodness gracious!
She needs an agent.
Halftime stats in a tie ball game. Winnipeg's offense has certainly produced a lot more than Toronto's, but those 2 turnovers has really hurt. Defensively, though, what a game Reddick Cranby's having for Winnipeg, Dwayne.
Yeah, he's been fantastic so far all over the field. A couple of big sacks of Argo quarterback Cameron Dukes in the early going of this ball game. So you see the second one, and it's not just about getting after the quarterback. Heard Jim Barker talk at halftime about his play against the run. Perfectly timed stunt into that one. And Reda is now down at field level with Matthew Shinetti.
You attack every part of the field. What is the directive you're getting from Jordan Younger, your defensive coach?
I'm just playing within the scheme, and when the plays come to me, I just make it. It's nothing. It's just sticking to my job and everyone doing his job and just making the play when it comes to me.
And so what then is the key to making it more of a confusing decision for Ryan Dinwiddie and what quarterback he's going to use? Do you enjoy kind of attacking one quarterback or another?
I think both quarterbacks are great. They have 2 different styles. Obviously, Dukes is more active with his leg. Arbuckle is a veteran with a lot of experience, so he's more comfortable in the pocket. So we obviously got to take that into account. But just sticking to the scheme and jaywalk when Coach Younger called the play, we just executed.
Thank you, Reda.
Nice to meet you.
Everyone loves to meet Shinetti, who's making his season debut this weekend.
Well, I heard Reda was making all those plays because he was hoping to meet sideline reporter Paul LaPolice today.
Lapo filled in for Matthew admirably, but said we're glad to have. Well, Matthew made his season debut last night in Ottawa, but great to have him here as well. And the Argos in a 6-6 tie, and probably feeling fortunate to be in that, with Winnipeg really dominating for a while, but turning the ball over and taking points off the board as well. They're allowed to start this second half. Winnipeg gets the ball and defending the north end. Down to Cody Case. Had some time on offense as well, and the returns as he gets a good one here up across the 35. And Zach Collaros, another look at the hit that had him forced to sit for a few plays.
Yeah, Derek Parrish comes on the edge. Came in, as I said, a little bit high, but it looked more like hands to the chest and a shove. It didn't appear to be that helmet-to-helmet contact, but Collaros went down hard, and injury spotters doing their job, keeping an eye on him, getting him checked out. Sat out for a series before coming back into this ball game. There you see his numbers on the night.
With 15 for 20, 169. Here we go to start the second half. A short pass to Oliveira. Puts his head down against a couple of defenders, but a flag is down. Looks like holding against Winnipeg.
You see a frustration on some Bomber faces there, Brady Oliveira, as he makes his way back to the huddle, but also members of the offensive line just watching down at field level. Hating to see a positive play go to waste.
Face mask, Winnipeg, number 66. The 15 yards will be applied from point ball dead, second down.
The veteran Stanley Bryant flagged for that. Face mask as called by the referee Justin McInnes. And here's what he did.
Well, Stanley Bryant, perennial most outstanding lineman contender. And you just see the hand got caught up incidentally in the face mask.
Drew Wolotarski, good to see him back in this game. And it's Oliveira again. He gets it up across the 30 to about the 32, so still well shy of a first down as the punting unit will come on this first Winnipeg possession of the second half.
Yeah, tough to dig out of that hole for any offense. That's the frustration you saw a little bit earlier from Oliveira and others, including Stanley Bryant.
We've seen Janarian Grant on a kickoff return. He has not had a punt return. There are two returners back for the Argos along with Grant as Deontay McMahon.
Yeah, this is a response to Jamison Sheehan punting wide side away from Grant, getting the ball on the ground, making it difficult for him to get going.
So it works from the standpoint that they get it into Grant's hands, but he is going nowhere there. Good coverage, Shane Gauthier, veteran teammate. Gauthier was asked about that a long time ago, what it would be like to face, to him, the best one that he has seen in his career, and he just got his taste of it there, and just sharing a little smile that he tackled Janarian Grant finally.
Yeah, well, I think fascinating, not just for a guy like Shane Gauthier, who had been Grant's teammate for so long, but you think about a guy like Mike Miller, who would have spent so much of his career blocking for Janarian Grant, seeing him close up. Miller, obviously a guy, career leader in the Canadian Football League in special teams tackles. Spends a lot of time breaking down how to get after these kinds of guys. Now he's making the game plan for how to deal with his former teammate.
For so much time together, interesting feeling, I'm sure, for Gauthier to tackle Janarian Grant. Play action fake, throwing his arm buckle, coming back to the ball for a first down is Mackay Pope. Working on Tyrell Ford, and he came back and he got it right around the first down marker.
A nice move by Polk on the initial escape here, and using the space he's got out there on the field with a little fake inside spin out. Big hit to finish that one off by Brandon Alexander. Not the first time he's delivered one of those.
Gets it up to the Argo 49, their first possession of the second half. It's a 6-6 tie in the first meeting of the season between the Argos and Bombers. Arbuckle out to the right and hit as he catches the ball is Kadeem Carey. Contact right away by the corner Terrell Bonds for a short pickup by the Argos.
Yeah, Bonds taking over that boundary corner spot, occupied last year by DeMario Houston. Now with the Calgary Stampeders, as we talk about some of the veteran guys that the Bombers had to make difficult decisions on during free agency.
Both of these teams did, and there have been injury issues as well, but especially for Winnipeg, so much roster change from last year to this because of those two factors. Arbuckle, and underneath, and completes it to Carey. Adam Bighill right there with him, right at midfield, and it'll be a third down coming up here for Toronto. And a full 2 yards shy, the placement of the ball. And the punting unit and John Haggerty coming on.
Big defensive stop as you see Adam Bighill manning the middle of that Bomber defense as usual. And spying quarterback. Quick reaction, sure tackle from one of the league's all-time leaders in that department.
So Haggerty to punt from the Argo 45. Cody Case alone back at his 10. Takes it 20 and then out of bounds at about the 23 out of Aboye. And the group pushing him out as Oliveira comes back on. He has 6 carries, 44 yards, 4 catches for 32 in a tie football game. Kadeem Carey was the CFL rushing leader heading into this game, but he has only 9 yards on 3 carries. And Brady Oliveira, last year's leader, has overtaken him with 6 carries and 44 yards.
Yeah, Brady having a little busier day and continuing his recent hot streak. Getting things going with that Bomber ground game. They look to rediscover their winning ways.
Drew Wolotarski back in the game. He's wide out to the left for Zach Collaros. 2 more to the left, looking that way, but he dumps it down to Oliveira, who tries to keep his balance and get close to a first down. He gets up near the Winnipeg 30. Remember a game against the Toronto Argonauts in Winnipeg last year, and that was a career high 25 carries, 169 yards, and a receiving touchdown for Brady Oliveira.
Yeah, terrific dual threat. We've seen that here today, but with some excitement to be facing a team in which he enjoyed a little bit of success a year ago.
And another sign, I know he's missed a start because of injury, but another strange fact about this Bomber offense, Brady Oliveira still doesn't have a touchdown this season. By air or by ground. 2nd and 2 right now. And not much doing there. No, not even close. The first down with Chris Strebler.
Ralph Hawley making his presence felt in the middle of the Toronto Argonaut defense. And you see the big D tackle. Monster during his career at Western Michigan.
Jamison Sheehan back for the punt as Dwayne observed the last one. 2 returners now. Mickey Donovan and the Argos are using along with Janarian Grant, who's at the top. And Deontay McMahon along with him. It goes to Grant inside the 35. At the 31. Breaks loose, breaks free, flag down, and he is taken down. Michael Griffin, too, wraps him up at the 45 of the Argos. There was a flag as well as Janarian Grant was looking to break through in what would make it a record night, but defense, Hawley, and the big stop on Strebler to force them to kick it away. Beautiful Saturday night in Lake Ontario, and here at BMO Field. Fans out to see the Argos here at this stadium for the first time in nearly a month. Zach Collaros in Winnipeg against his old team, one of his old clubs, Toronto, in a 6-6 tie. Approaching the midway point of the 3rd quarter. Argo football. Nick Arbuckle remains at quarterback. Steps in, throws, and it looked for a moment like DeMonte Coxie would have the catch, but no, Tyrell Ford had him covered like a blanket.
Yeah, good battle for the football there. Tyrell Ford making a break on the route, getting his hands in there. Preventing Coxie from making a clean catch there. Terrific defensive play from the University of Waterloo product. He has a twin brother, you know.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Tomorrow in Edmonton. Saw Trey Ford a little bit last week. McLeod Bethel Thompson, of course, #1 QB with the Elks. Oh, that throw, and it's knocked away. More good coverage. That's Dietrich Nichols and Mackay Polk as it falls incomplete, and a 2-and-out for Toronto.
Dietrich Nichols, from his first year in this league, established himself as one of the best in the biz. Doesn't get tested quite as often anymore to demonstrate that to people, but just a little reminder there. Big defensive play.
I was going to say, the highest praise you can give someone in the secondary is if you're not saying their name very much, right?
Absolutely.
Punting, Haggerty. Taken by Cody Case inside the Bomber 40. He's chased back. Stays on his feet. Cuts it up across the 45 and down around the 47. So Cody Case, the new returner for Winnipeg, making something out of that. In Toronto, and the view of the city from the island in a 6-6 tie. In the Earl Grey Golf Club. And Brooke Henderson in a tie for 18th at this point in time, heading into the final round at 2 under par. 11 shots off the lead. Watch that tomorrow on TSN. Bomber football. Brady Oliveira driving towards midfield. Remember the story of Chris Timofeychuk? We're talking about Chris, who was in Ottawa last night and Montreal the night before. This is the final stop, and people look like they're being very generous, too, with the donations. He is raising money for cancer research, and this is the 9th CFL Stadium, 9th of 9 in 15 days to set a new Guinness Book of Records.
Yeah, what a great cause, obviously, for Chris, collecting money, as you mentioned, for cancer research. You can see him collecting donations down there, very well supported.
Collaros going down again. Jake Seresno adds to his sack total. One of the new Argos coming in 2024. And the Bombers will have to punt.
Jake Serezna, previously an Ottawa Red Black and Edmonton Elk. Saw the great hand slap there. Get past the guard, Patty Neufeld. The top pass rushers among interior defensive linemen in the Canadian Football League.
And his 4th sack with the Argos this season, leading the way for Toronto's defense, 3rd and 8 now. Jamison Sheehan back. Once again, 2 returners. Deontay McMahon joining the ex-Bomber, Janarian Grant. This time it's McMahon. He cuts it back. Gets across the 15, down closer to the 20. Tackled there by Michael Griffin. Willie Jefferson, future Hall of Famer, no doubt about that. And look at this combination. 70 sacks, 70 pass knockdowns. Only one in the history of the league to do that.
Yeah, and it just speaks to his effectiveness as a pass defender, not a one-trick pony, strictly a pass rusher, but always aware as he rushes the passer. More pass breakups than any defensive back.
It's amazing. Defensive Player of the Year in the CFL 5 years ago when the Bombers were just starting to dominate and won that Grey Cup that year. He was a big part of that, of course. On the ground, running is Kadeem Carey. We mentioned earlier how his totals are much lower tonight, but that's a big carry for him to get a first down for Toronto.
Yeah, and sometimes the load as well for Kadeem being shared in that Toronto Argonaut backfield. We've seen a little bit of Daniel Adeboboye as well in there tonight. At times in other games, Deontay McMahon, part of the RB rotation as well. The Argos look to give some different sets, different looks to opposing defenses, but Kadeem Carey, no doubt the main guy, and they'd like to see a little more of that.
And back to the ground. Breaking a tackle is Carey. Coming to life after an 11-yard carry. He gets that one for what looks like another Argo first down. The running game is waking up after being held to 20 yards, the top rushing team in the CFL.
And you don't often see running backs drop the shoulder on Adam Bighill, but a big collision here between one of the league's top middle linebackers and top running backs. Kadeem Carey clearly getting the best of that one.
Moves right back in to fill that hole and take him down. That was on a second and about a foot away, by the way. Didn't give him the first down before, and not much there at all.
And there's Bighill just left of the hash mark. Eager to deliver a little bit of payback here. Gets low, driving the legs. Big stuff right at the point of attack.
But only needed a foot, so he does barely get enough for the first down. Up to the 43. Sticks move. Argos. 6-6 tie, third quarter. And it's getting late in the third, too, under 4 minutes to play. This low-scoring game. It's Deontay McMahon this time, the ball carrier. Picks up about 3 or 4 more, but mentioning the career of Adam Bighill, we talked about Willie Jefferson before and his longtime teammate. Look what he's done. We're starting and having so many great years with the BC Lions, but 924. And you look at the name of his head coach up there at number 2 in behind Willie Pless, then Mike O'Shea.
Yeah, fantastic group of linebackers. Obviously, no surprise that a number of Hall of Famers on that list, but terrific career for Adam Bighill. And you think how it started. This is a guy who forced his way onto the roster as an American linebacker who was a non-starter. He was a terrific special teams player. They had to find a way to get him on the roster.
Arbuckle's pass is knocked down at the line, and the Bombers do recover it, but it looks like an incomplete pass here. Guess who it is?
Well, here's that awareness and obviously the massive wingspan. Human eclipse appearing in front of Nick Arbuckle.
The only one in CFL history with 70 knockdowns, 70 sacks. there. 3rd and 6. Haggerty's on. This defensive struggle continues here at BMO Field in Toronto. Cody Case, good punt, Haggerty. Giving him a lot of room down there on the far side of the field as he's taken down about the 17-yard line. Claris back on, deeper towards his own zone in a tie game. Bombers have played well enough to win football games lately, Dwayne, but having trouble hanging on to the football. Turnovers costly tonight, just like last week.
Yeah, and at somewhat critical times or in critical field position, opportunities to put points on the board being taken away from them. As you said, cost them a chance to collect a W last week. A very close game here tonight. Find yourself wondering if it could prove again to be the difference.
That one really hurt Dembski. They're getting him down in scoring range, punched out nicely by Jameer Thurman. So ball security, well, means a lot to any head coach. It certainly does for that man. Mike O'Shea has talked about that, and that has been a problem last couple of games. These turnovers costly tonight. Game is tied. Had it not been for those, they could, or you could say should, be leading this football game. But here we are, deep in their zone, starting in a 6-6 tie. Dembski and Militarsky, the familiar faces to Zach Collaros. It goes to Josh Johnson. And he is upended. Coming in there is Robert Priester just across the 20. 2nd down.
Priester spent some time with the Argos last year. Wasn't with the team coming out of training camp this year, but after injuries in that linebacking core, particularly Quincy Mogier going down, he was brought back into the fold, immediately plugged into that starting lineup. That's a position where they wanted to have an experienced guy instead of maybe shuffling the deck with some less experienced secondary players that were on hand already.
Collaros gets rid of it quickly. It is caught as well. And caught for a 1st down for Winnipeg. That is Ontario Wilson. And that's his 6th catch.
Yeah, Wilson continuing to demonstrate that he's a quick study in this Winnipeg Blue Bombers offense. Obviously, some part of that being out of necessity. Veteran receivers out of the lineup.
6 catches, 74 yards. That was the first down for the Bombers this half for the final minute of the 3rd quarter. Claris, he's taken down again. More heat by the Argos. Derek Parrish has had a good game in there. And Woody Barron, new addition to the Argos, of course, had played for Montreal and the BC Lions as well. And Barron getting in on the act.
Yeah, Woody Barron, as you said, recently brought into that D-tackle mix. Quick swim to the inside, nice spin move there off the center, Kolinkowski. But yeah, we mentioned earlier the injuries to Brinkman and Jordan Williams at defensive tackle. This after the team had released Sean Oakman, so found themselves looking for another veteran guy, Woody Barron, available.
And Collaros goes down again. Coming in, Serezna. This Argo front is really put a lot of heat on. That'll be the 5th sack of the night for Toronto's defense. And the 2nd sack of this game for Serezna, who leads the Argos with 5. The quarter comes to an end. And Toronto's defense, good all night, but really rising up lately. After the Bombers had got their first down, Kevin Ivan loves it. Jake Serezna just cooling off after a well-earned break with his 2nd sack. 5 sacks in all for the Argo defense and forcing Winnipeg to punt. Initially thinking it's quarter time. There are zeros on the clock, but they are going to run one final play before they actually change ends. Janarian Grant, Deontay McMahon. So awaiting a punt, and then they will switch ends and play the final 15.
Once again, Janarian Grant. Kick return touchdowns in 3 consecutive games. Very select company with Henry Gizmo Williams and Chris Williams. 2 punt returns and a kickoff return.
Started the run a couple of weeks ago against Saskatchewan, 3 weeks ago, and then in Montreal, and then in Hamilton, and trying to have the record all his own if he can return one for a touchdown tonight. Jamison Sheehan, final play of the third quarter. Janarian Grant will take it. Just shy of his 40 as he backtracks, and he is taken down. Flag does come out. Johnny Augustine coming in for great special teams play and his old teammate.
Well, the ball was in flight. Holding, Toronto, number 44. 10-yard penalty, first down. That is the end of the third quarter.
As announced by Justin McInnes. Defense. Hope you like it. Points coming at a premium here. And the Argos defense lately really rising up at a 6-6 tie, 15 minutes to go. Stats through 3 quarters, big difference in net yards advantage Winnipeg, but you don't see it on the scoreboard. And lately, Dwayne, the Argos defense kind of dictating things here. 5 sacks now of Zach Collaros.
Yeah, and coming at them from different angles in terms of that pass rush, but particularly the interior of that defensive line. Serezna, Hawley, Woody Barron getting in on the act, really dominating the inside guys for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now.
Well, you put that together with the 2 turnovers happening in the first half by Winnipeg, and that took some points off the board. So we got a tie ball game with 1 quarter to play, and it's Argonaut football to start this 4th quarter. After those sacks forced Winnipeg to kick it away, Toronto will start at their own 31-yard line, coming in with a record of 3-3, having lost last week in Hamilton. Winnipeg at 2-5. They lost their first 4, then they won a couple, but were beaten by the Riders at Mosaic last week. Not a record Winnipeg's used to. A lot of changes on this team. And it's in the hands of Janarian Grant, trying to get him in space. He picks up a couple of yards. He's had a few catches tonight on short passes.
Yeah, Grant has been such an offensive weapon really through his play on special teams for the Toronto Argonauts in recent weeks. I think he's forced his way onto the field on offense. At this point, he's been their most dangerous player. Why not try to find more ways to get the ball into his hands?
A special team star with Winnipeg for 4 seasons, one of the best they've ever had. Arbuckle throwing again, nearly intercepted. Again, Tyrell Ford had the best shot at it, and he knows it. Falls incomplete. Nonetheless, though, it's time for the Argos to punt again as Haggerty heads on.
Yeah, matchup out wide. Dave Ungerer, the Argo receiver. Tyrell Ford, nice read. Just cutting underneath. Watch him make that break and cut underneath the route to make a play on the football.
So lone man back for Winnipeg is Cody Case for the John Haggerty punt. Coming into the week, 2nd in net punting yards. A beautiful one there to chase Case back to the 20. And gets across the 30. Teodric Hansen, the global player. Another former Bomber, by the way. Started his career in Winnipeg, and Hansen coming in to make sure he goes no further.
Remember, moving east in free agency.
He was. Remember, Teodric Hansen had it was just the first year of the global players in the Grey Cup and had a big tackle against Hamilton on the kickoff, as everyone took note of. The 2nd pick in the European draft back in 2019. And must be strange for him to see his old club across the way.
He's a former member of the Potsdam Royals, by the way.
Yes, he is. 1st and 10, Winnipeg 31. Zach Collaros quickly now, and that is over to Josh Johnson, and he is tackled there by Fraser Sopik after a pickup of about 3 more yards.
Yeah, Sopik's having a terrific season for the Toronto Argonauts. Very quietly has kind of taken over that weak side linebacker position where Jonathan Jones had been penciled in to play, but fifth-year Canadian out of Western.
Great on the Mustangs defense in 2017 in that Vanier Cup.
Defensive player of the game in that one. 2018 President's Trophy winner is the outstanding stand-up defensive player in the country.
Goes to the CFL, the Calgary Stampeders. Good years in special teams there. Claris is throwing, and in coverage, and picked off. And it's being taken back by Tavares McFadden. Touchdown Argos. And the first touchdown scored in this game is by a defensive player.
That seems somehow fitting in this low-scoring ball game that a defensive player would break it open. There you see Amos with the deflection, defending against Dembski. McFadden, his first game back in double blue, again released by the Argos in training camp, briefly joined the Ottawa Red Blacks. Argos looking to get things settled at the corner positions, brought him back.
Winnipeg is challenging the previous play for pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
So you saw it bobbled. Michael O'Shea arguing PI, and the last Bomber to touch it. Tony Case actually kept it up for the pick by McFadden. So intended for Dembski. Case touches it into the hand of McFadden for the touchdown. Will it be overturned? Look at Tom Valesi in the command center, and they're looking to see if this is pass interference on the interception for a touchdown by Tavares McFadden. So then,
and as I look at this one, it looks to me like Amos has the right arm of Dembski tied up before the ball gets there, but let's hear the ruling.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
They gave it a look. Despite what you see there, it is an Argo touchdown on the turnover, and it's been a nightmare for Mike O'Shea's team in terms of coughing up the football. A couple of fumbles in the first half, and then the most damaging one, the interception on the deflection from Tavares McFadden. As mentioned, let go by Toronto in training camp. He comes back because of all the injuries to their secondary. And he has a good game, not just that play, but the most important one there, the interception and the first touchdown of this game for either team.
And again, there's another look at the play. Amos defending the pass. Gets tipped up in the air. Looked like Metier in on that as well. Tavares McFadden, the man in double blue who comes up with the football. Now, eventually finding his way to a starting cornerback spot with the Argos. As mentioned, they lost some two starting corners from last season. Jamal Peters leaving in free agency. Quantez Stinger selected in the National Football League draft. It would have appeared that there was a clear path to McFadden, who was often sort of the extra DB last year. You would have thought he would move into the starting lineup, but Argos elected to go a little younger to start the season, and he moved on, but finds his way back home and having an impact.
I believe he had that spot in the field corner before Stingers arrived 2 years ago. It's his third season out of Florida State, and gets a start tonight, and there's your result there. And the difference right now is interception for a touchdown. It was challenged by Mike O'Shea for pass interference, but they ruled that the call stands. So Winnipeg is in a hole now by a touchdown. Case on the return. And still on his feet as he does well to get it up around the 35 for Winnipeg. And Zach Collaros back on the field. Not long after that last pass he threw.
Well, time for the veteran quarterback to shake things off. Get this Bomber offense going. And as you watch them, and it seems like a lot of contested passes underneath, kind of those mid-range passes being thrown by Zach Larson. It makes you wonder how much they miss the guys taking the top off the defense in Lawler and Schoen.
No doubt they are missing them. Brady Oliveira, good work breaking some tackles and knifing his way across the 40 to about the 43-yard line. But you look at Claris's numbers, 2 touchdown passes only and 8 interceptions. And if the Bombers can't come back and win this game, to think that they could start the season at 2-6. But not to make excuses for them. Other teams have dealt with losses of free agents and injuries, but My goodness, they've certainly had their share. A much different roster out there, especially on offense right now.
It is always a challenge. It's often not just about replacing players' skill sets on the field, but also certain roles within team chemistry.
Chris Trevler in at quarterback on the second down. Hands it off to Oliveira, picks up a couple, but looks like he will be shy. Let's see where they spot it. He had to get right to the 45 for the first down, and it looks like it could be just inches shy, as you would expect Trevler to stay on. Third down it is, about a foot away.
Strevler has been very effective in this game. Short yardage formation, but it seems like he's always getting 2, 3, 4 yards a pop. His inside runs.
Only time he was stuck, he took it out of shotgun. That time works the big body across the 45, so that should be enough for a first down. As it is a first down, let's get an injury update now from Matthew.
Well, guys, you were talking about the Bombers' inability right now to take the top off of defense. Bombers are telling me that Drew Wolotarski, one of those weapons that might have been able to do it, injured earlier in this game, but he is now out of the game, guys.
Thanks, Matthew. We talked to Nick Dembski a couple of days ago, and he was saying, joking sort of, that goes in, and Wolotarski is the only familiar face at times. In that receiving room early in the season, there's been so much change after Lawler got hurt. Dalton Schoen. Wolotarski done for the game. But speaking of Dembski, who loses the ball, not unlike last week against Saskatchewan when he had a big catch, and that time he had it punched out. This time, another play on offense by Winnipeg where they gain yards and then lose the handle on the ball. That's the third time that's happened tonight to Winnipeg. And Deshaun Amos with his second fumble recovery. Frustrated Nick Dembski on the sideline after another fumble, after another good gain of about 30 yards and coughed it up. So it's Argo football. 4-0 turnovers going against Winnipeg in this. One went for a touchdown. And that's really the story of this game. Let's have another look at this catch and then fumble by Nick Dembski.
Yeah, nice route to get open. Great. He gets in behind Priester, but had that ball in the upfield arm where it's a target for a defender. Coming towards him, popped loose. Once again, scoring position. Little pat on the button, and let's go from head coach Mike O'Shea.
As said, compounding that what happened last week in Regina to Nick Dembski late in the game. Similar thing happened. Four-man rush, time for Arbuckle, and sitting down to catch that is Mackay Pope. Gets it up closer to the 50 and a first down for the Argos, nursing a 7-point lead now as we approach the midway point of the fourth quarter.
Nick Arbuckle came on a couple series in for the Toronto Argonauts, taking over from Cameron Dukes. No big offensive explosion to date, but Arbuckle taking care of the football.
Still under 100 passing yards total for the Argos. Now it is caught close to midfield, so getting closer to 100. David Unger, his first catch of the season. Unger had to start the season on the 6th game because of a hamstring injury. And no doubt, veteran Unger is glad to be back in on the act. Had a breakout season last year with Toronto.
Yeah, Unger, originally the 11th overall pick in the draft out of Idaho by Hamilton back in 2019, came to Toronto as a free agent looking for a little more of an opportunity and found it. Career high, 41 catches, 579 yards, 3 touchdowns for him last season.
So first catch of the season for Unger. And breaking through is Kadeem Carey. Not as many rushing yards as we're used to seeing from 25 on this night, but a big one for Carey there as another first down goes to the Argos into the Bombers zone at the Winnipeg 40.
And watch how Carey turns his shoulders. Going through the hole here. Little slice. Nice job there by the Argo offensive line. Getting them up to the secondary untouched.
15 yards. Kadeem Carey to the 40. 13-6. The Argos leading by a touchdown. Back to Carey and finds a hole. And another good run to get it inside the Winnipeg 35.
The Argos offensive line starting to impose their will a little bit. Winnipeg, their combination of bit of fatigue and frustration at this point. See a great lane, two-way go there. He gets in behind Peter Nicastro.
He didn't have much in the first half, but now he has 9 carries, 55 yards, and he's once again past Brady Oliveira for leading rusher in the Canadian Football League. They're a close 1-2. Dan Adeboboye has the ball now, and he's trying to drive his way down to the 30, but shy of a first down. It'd be a good yard away for Adeboboye. Then a third down coming up here.
Cameron Dukes back into the game with the short yardage unit. The Argos got off to a quick start this season. The running of Kadeem Carey was such a big part of that. 1-3 in their last 4, but the lead in this one with Carey showing the way in the fourth quarter.
Cameron Dukes goes right, tries to cut it up, and I don't think he got it. He got as far as the 30-yard line. He needed to get over that. And this could be a turnover on downs, a big defensive play for the Bombers when they really need it.
Well, terrific effort by Adam Bighill. Middle linebacker tracking to the football, coming downhill to stop him dead.
First time the Argos turn over the football after Winnipeg had done it 4 times. They meet Dukes right at the 30. Adam Bighill, first down Bombers.
Need a big play, go to a veteran guy, Adam Bighill. Veteran linebacker. Tracking this play across and then just steps up to meet Dukes in the hole. You see him coming from behind, left side of your screen, just mirrors the quarterback. When Dukes picks the gap, Bighill meets him in that gap.
First down, Winnipeg, Collaros. Short pass coming across. Josh Johnson. Well, he lost his helmet. See the helmet pop off as he's taken down. Gets it up near the 45 and a first down.
Well, Bombers look to get things going. Josh Johnson. It's been a busy young Bombers receiver today. Tries to lower his head as Sopik comes in for the tackle. You saw a helmet-on-helmet collision that popped his lid off. Seems no worse for wear.
So he gets it up to the 44. They put it down at 1st and 10. A big turnover on downs. See what Winnipeg can do with it now. Collaros once again quickly dumping it down to Oliveira. Looking for yardage after the catch, and he gets it up to midfield. Another Winnipeg first down. Bombers on the move.
There you see offensive coordinator Buck Pierce. Offense that's been so successful over the last number of seasons.
The injury responder has requested Winnipeg 84 to be removed from the game.
That is Josh Johnson, who the play before was the one that lost his helmet on that contact head-to-head with Fraser Sopik. So one play later, the injury spotter, for the second time tonight, removing a Bomber player from the game.
And here you'll see, watch on the tackle, as Johnson lowers his head going into contact. Their helmets collide. His lid pops off.
Chris Strebler is in this game as a second quarterback in. Zach Collaros in behind. Strebler's in as a receiver. Collaros is looking deep. Deep. Caught. Touchdown. Ontario Wilson had to secure the ball, but he did. And a much-needed touchdown pass for that Winnipeg offense. Just the 4th touchdown receiving by the Bombers. season, just the third thrown by Zach Collaros.
Yeah, Collaros given time, nice protection there. You saw Oliveira moving across the formation. Little bit of an adventure, but happy ending for Ontario Wilson.
You just get a feeling in this night nothing is going to come easy for Winnipeg. Even a wide open receiver for a touchdown, but Wilson does secure the football, and if they ever need that. And now, how big was that tackle by Adam Bingham to force the turnover on downs? A quick 7 points off the turnover to match what the Argos did off the turnover, but doing it with their offense. Ontario Pokey Wilson picks up the touchdown.
Yeah, nothing fancy. He's just going. Florida State product. I think this reaction from Zach, a little bit of relief after seeing that ball bobbled by Wilson on the way in. The receiver stays with it.
The Argos are winning the turnover stat of the night, 4-1. But how big is that one turnover for Winnipeg when the Argos were in position to make it a 2-score game?
Yeah, leads directly to points.
Like 3 times, boy. Ball like, no, I can't drop this.
No, you can't. No, you didn't. Big catch
for Pokey Wilson. A new life for the Bombers in a 13-13 tie. Only offensive touchdown scored in this game. There's Janarian Grant. No one needs to be reminded how dangerous he could suddenly be, and that's Deontay McMahon back with him. And the kick. Back to the 5 for Grant. Breaks loose for a moment. Up around the 23, and the Bombers have him racked up. Very mindful of what number 3 can do. They saw it so often in his years in Winnipeg. So over to Nick Arbuckle now, who's been the quarterback of that Argo offense since the start of the second quarter. We got 3:30 on the clock here in the fourth quarter in a tie game.
Arbuckle came off the bench in the fourth quarter last week in Hamilton. Nearly led them to a comeback. That seems to have earned him the bigger opportunity this week, the veteran. He's been essentially like a coach and mentor to Cameron Dukes so far this season.
Arbuckle, that's out to Kadeem Carey. Evan Holm pushing him out, but not before a first down for the Argonauts. Stirs up the bench and the fans here. He's pushed out of bounds.
Yeah, Carey has a free release to the right side of your screen. Nobody goes with him, wide open in the flat. Able to turn that into a big first down. Holm rides him a little bit out of bounds there.
Some here, partisan, feel that should have been a flag. Last play before the 3-minute warning. Fourth quarter, 40-yard line Argos. In a tie game, again, Arbuckle. Willie Jefferson chasing after him, as is Jake Thomas as he throws it. It's low, intended for David Ungara. Falls incomplete. Second down coming up after Winnipeg scored their first offensive touchdown in nearly 2 full games. We got a tie game with just a few minutes to go. Hamilton Tiger Cats, Bo Levi Mitchell, they got their first win against the Argos last week. First of the season, McLeod Bethel Thompson and the Edmonton Elks still looking for win number 1. The Ticats and the Elks to wrap up Week 8 in the CFL on TSN. That's tomorrow from Commonwealth, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific time. Back at BMO Field, what a finish we have. Yes, it's been a defensive struggle by and large, but it is a tie game, and we got finger pointing and flags coming out now. They seem to be directed at the Winnipeg rookie, number 93, Owen Hubert, out of McMaster.
Hubert, a nice late-round find for the Bombers this year. Selected 73rd overall.
and closer to home as well. Coming back from Norwood, Ontario, raised in Norwood.
Procedure, Toronto, number 62. It's a 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Well, they can point at Owen Hubert all they want, but it's against Ryan Hunter. It's against the Argos, pushing them back 5 more yards in the procedure call. And a second down and 15, so big penalty looming late in this game. 2:38 on the clock. And a tie game with momentum going back to the Bombers after the first offensive touchdown for either team moments ago. Ontario Wilson catching that long one from Zach Calera, so Arbuckle. 4 receivers to the left. Looking right. Gets rid of it. What a brilliant catch by Tavares Daniels. And he's still going. He spins around to get extra yardage. Inside the Bomber 50. In a crowd, and the soft hands of Daniels brings a big
Holding,
one down.
Toronto, number 59. It's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
But it's all for naught. As the right tackle, Dejon Allen, gets flagged for holding, and this one is coming back. 29-yard gain negated by the hold.
Yeah, so watch the matchup. It's Owen Hubert again working against the veteran Dejon Allen. Watch at the tail end of this as Hubert tries to reach to the quarterback. Allen gives a little pull around the collar with the right hand. Young guy having an impact right there.
So 2 penalties against the Argos. First procedure, and then the hold, and another 10 back. It's a 2nd and 25 from the Argo 25. Yes, they got to get to the 50. There's a deep look, 50 and then some, but oh my goodness, nearly caught by Daniels that time as he got turned around. He had a shot at it, and there's a flag down. And Dinwiddie's out, and the headset came off. A challenge flag down. 1 PI. Reaction from Dinwiddie. Obviously suggesting he shouldn't have to throw the challenge flag.
Yeah, if you see at the tail end of this
Toronto's
play,
challenging the previous play for pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
watch the defender, Dietrich Nichols. Again, it's number 2 receiver, second from the bottom of your screen. Deep shot as Nichols picks him up in coverage. You see he's kind of holding him off, preventing him from going forward. But I think Nichols making an argument. He's trying to make a play on the ball, and Daniels is running into him, but much for the officials to sort out here.
As they will. Command center called into action again. And we'd like to welcome in viewers on TSN 5. Rod Smith, Dwayne Ford, Matthew Shinetti here at BMO Field in Toronto. And it's a 13-13 tie. And a challenge, a big one, being made by Argos head coach Ryan Dinwiddie, looking for pass interference.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Third down.
No PI. And the Argos have to punt.
And I thought the extended left arm might get Nichols in some trouble on this one, but intention here that he had his position already and was kind of maintaining that position.
And the fans at BMO letting everyone in stripes know how they feel. And comments, I'm sure, directed at the command center as well, but they looked at it and thought it's not pass interference, so it will be Winnipeg football. Cody Case just inside the Winnipeg 40. Flag comes out, no yards. He only gets a couple of yards, but they'll be tacking on 15 here. That'll move Colaris and the Bombers further up. 2:09 on the clock. Tie game. How things have
No
turned.
yards. Toronto, number 30. It's 15-yard penalty. First down.
Well, costly one given the field position. Jonathan Jones. You can see just a little too tight on the returner case as he caught that football.
Who has a 60-yard field goal, second longest ever in the CFL. They had that in Calgary. He's gone 7 times north of 50. He's converted on 5 of those. But Zach Collaros, as you saw, a lot of game-winning drives. And this has certainly helped him. Brady Oliveira still tugging those legs. And a big, big run, his biggest of the night, to get Winnipeg down inside the Argo 30.
Love the patience on this run by Brady Oliveira. Double team on the defensive tackle. And here comes Oliveira. Right up the gut. But just waited for a second for that double team to clear out the A gap. And then hit the accelerator.
26-yard run, longest of the season for Brady Oliveira. Down to the 31, so forget any talk about, at this point, about a plus 50 field goal try or perhaps field goal talk, period. The Bombers hope they can get into the end zone again. They go back to the ground. Still lots of time, 1:38.
Timeout, Toronto.
Biggest thing, given the way this evening has gone, the last couple of weeks have gone for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, protecting the football, that ball security that we talked about earlier.
Well, it's a tie game, but they've really been undone by turnovers tonight. 3 fumbles after some positive yardage on offense, and then, of course, the interception for the touchdown by Tavares McFadden. 4 times they've turned it over. 136 and counting. Zach Collaros' family out to watch and cheer him on. The Bombers on the road here in Toronto, trying to close in on their 3rd win of the season.
Timer, please reset the clock to 1:38.
And you saw Collaros pointing to the clock in the end zone beforehand. They are setting it to 1:38, 2nd and 6. They're at the 27 of Toronto. Working that play clock down, taking as much time off the clock as they can. In scoring position now. Handing off again, Oliveira. And he was caught behind the line by Robbie Smith, but he broke that tackle, and Oliveira pushes it down very close to another first down. There's Sergio Castillo. Chris Trebler's coming on.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, and given their effectiveness with the Strebler team, calculated gamble to go for it here rather than taking the points. They want to get as much time off the clock as they can before giving the Argos an opportunity to have the ball back.
And that's the thing. I guess they figure if they kick it, yeah, they get the lead, but Argos would still have some time left.
Some time and only needing a field goal as well.
Here we go, 3rd down, Strebler. Didn't get much. It's the last little surge by Strebler, who had to get it down inside the 21. Argos are optimistically thinking that it could be a turnover and downs. Have another look here.
Yeah, great look down the line. Contact certainly made in front of the marker, but Strebler.
Wow. That lunge makes this close.
Yeah, as is often said about great running backs.
Where is the spot of the ball here? That yard marker right at the 21. And that ball, most of it outside of the 21-yard line. This is going to be a close measure. Turnover on downs.
Another turnover in scoring position.
Just as it happened with the
previous play is under review by Command Center.
So they'll review, the Command Center will review the spot of the football on this extra lunge, that effort by Strebler. That was Teodric Hansen who made first contact on Strebler.
The previous play is automatically being reviewed by Command Center.
Both units, offensive and defensive, kind of headed away from this, believing that they had won the play, so to speak. See, from that angle, look at where the ball is when Strebler is down.
That'd be the question. Was he down already? Because where he advances it, you're right, that would be further along by the looks of things, that it would be at or inside the 21. Had to get to the 21-yard line. Automatic review by the Command Center, and just a critical play.
And always a reminder that evidence has to be conclusive in order to overturn a decision. You can't just surmise what it looks like.
It's all about the placement of the ball. Does it stand?
After automatic review, the ruling on the field stands. First down corner.
The hindsight will come out here that had he gone with the field goal and taken the lead, there's still just under a minute to go, and I can certainly understand or appreciate the argument that the Argos would have time to come back the other way, but it is a tie game. And now, an offense that has struggled getting the ball down the field in the second half. Kadeem Carey, who takes that one, and a good pickup on first down. Second and short coming up, 48 seconds as they'll try to get in the field goal range for Lirim Hajrullahu. What a turn. 43 seconds. Swinging it out. Breaking a tackle. Breaking another as Carey does get the first down up across the 30. Sticks move. 37 seconds on the clock. And still plenty of real estate they have to cover if they're going to have a shot at a winning field goal.
Yeah, big second effort by the Argos running back, but nickel and diming at this stage on the clock isn't going to get them there.
Willie Jefferson nearly got Arbuckle. He gets away. He takes off. Something you seldom see as he gets it up closer to the 40 on that first down play. But they still, with 26 seconds left, are not close to the range of any kicker, not Lirim Hajrullahu, who does have a strong leg, but they still about 30, 40 yards here. 23 seconds. Will it be heading to overtime? Arbuckle lobs that one up and out of bounds on that 2nd and 5. So 3rd and 5 coming up. 17 seconds on the clock. The Argos, Devin Adams got through to Arbuckle, but we just want to kill the balance of this clock and play for OT.
Yeah, you see Adams coming from the right side of your screen in behind that goalpost. Just a bull rushed rip to the inside on the guard. Forces Arbuckle to throw that one away.
Overtime it is.
So 3rd and 5.
Yeah, Bombers with two receivers deep catch the ball in the air rather than letting the Argos get it on the ground.
And it is Cody Case with it. And runs around and gets taken down. That's Jack Cassar. special teams tackles leader. 6 seconds on the clock. Winnipeg had their chance to take the lead, but couldn't get the first down when they were in field goal range. So overtime, by the looks of things, is looming, but see what Zach Collaros can do here with a long field ahead. Ball at the 22.
See if Collaros takes that one Hail Mary shot. I'm not sure they can get enough yardage in this time, even for Castillo to go 60. Just going to play for overtime.
For the second time this season for Winnipeg, they had played Calgary in overtime and lost in a long field goal by Rene Paredes. So taking the knee in a game that has been close right throughout, fittingly, is now going to overtime. After 4 quarters, still undecided, 13-13. Back at BMO Field in Toronto, we're off to overtime, tied at 13. The teams will play a maximum of 2 mini games. 2 series. Each team will scrimmage from the opponent's 35 to try to score, and after a touchdown, a team has to go for 2. The team that scores the most points in the mini games will earn 2 points in the standings. Otherwise, they each get a point if it's still tied. Now the toss.
Here's the coin for overtime. The CFL logo is heads. The Argonaut logo is tails. Winnipeg, it's still your call. Heads, please. Heads. Heads is the call. It is a tail. Toronto, you're going to go defense. What side do you guys want to go to?
We want to play on that side.
Like Winnipeg, first down on that end of the field. Thank you.
So the Argos choose to defend first. So the Bombers going first on offense and heading towards the south end as chosen by Adam Bighill. So from the 35, 2 mini games max. If it's one after just the first one, that's it. They don't go to that second mini game if it's decided then. But after 2, if it's still, as mentioned, still a tie game, that's it. So, yeah, looming large for kickers. You see Sergio Castillo there and Liram Hairolau as well.
Just watching down at field level is overtime. Bit of a rarity, obviously, in the Canadian Football League. The Argo players almost lined up on the wrong side. They were lining up behind Winnipeg as if they were playing on the long field here.
Be a bit of a twist. Here we go. 1st and 10. The 35. They're running. And they're not going very far. Brady Oliveira coming in. Royce Metier, the safety, coming in to help stop the run. It's a 2nd and long.
Yeah, good anticipation from Metier. The ball would be in the hands of Oliveira to start this OT. Now creating a 2nd and long situation.
Second and long. Collaros to the right, knocked away. Intended for Ontario Wilson. And the coverage from Deshaun Amos. 3rd down, and Castillo will come on to see if they can get a field goal.
Wilson lined up in the slot to the right side of the formation, middle receiver. Defensive play there from Deshaun Amos.
Sergio Castillo is 2 for 3 on the night. This from 41 yards away to give the Bombers the overtime lead. High snap. Sheehan puts it down. It's wide left. Wide left. And the Argos, on their possession, are going to have a golden opportunity to win this game in OT. They do get the rouge, so it is 14-13, but that could be a moot point. See what happens with the Argos' possession. Let's go down to Matthew.
And you say the golden opportunity for the Argos. Well, Nick Arbuckle must have sensed it, Rod, because he pulled the entire offense together to make sure everyone was assignment sound for this critical drive in overtime, Rod.
Matthew, and here we go. Arbuckle, not the starter, but he's played most of the game at quarterback for the Argos. And Castillo thinking about that one, no doubt, and wondering if he'll get another chance. Is Toronto, of course, starting at the 35 already in field goal range, and the advantage, you see, they won the toss of going second, knowing what they need. Veteran Jake Thomas, a defensive tackle for Winnipeg, but having that knowledge helps them, knowing that a field goal is all they need from Hairolahu from the 35. Faking the handoff and throwing it down shy of Mackay Polk. Incomplete, second down. Argos just want to be careful with the football.
Well, being careful with the football is literally everything in this situation. You're within Lirim Hairoalu's field goal range. All you need is that 3. Ball security is more important than even trying to gain a yard. I'm surprised by the first down play call, actually, to throw the football.
The last time the Argos were here against Edmonton nearly a month ago, Hairolahu won it on a walk-off field goal. They run it. They just work it down closer, centered up and close. Kadeem Carey, and here comes Lirim Hairolahu, who started his CFL career with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Ended up after 2019 in the Grey Cup against Winnipeg, moving on to the NFL and coming back for the first time in 5 years this year. And Hairolahu, as mentioned, has already had a walk-off win this season. This kick would be another one from just inside the 35. A close game could come to an end here. Haggerty to put it down. Hairolahu to put it through. And the Argos, in a close one, win it in overtime. They get back over 500 in the closest of margins and drop the Bombers to 2-6.
Tough one for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. As Lirim Hairoalu hits the winning points, a game in which a series of turnovers within scoring range proved to be the difference, including a final one, a turnover on downs when they could have kicked a go-ahead field goal. With about a minute to go in this ball game, elected to go for it, and were stopped.
And no doubt Mike O'Shea will be asked about the decision not to kick the field goal late in the 4th. Instead, the Argos get a chance in overtime. And off the miss, they get theirs from Hairoalu and the victory. Thanks for watching the CFL on TSN in Toronto. SportsCenter's next.
SportsCenter begins with Saturday's big moment from Paris 2024. Swimming phenom Summer McIntosh winning silver in the 400-meter freestyle final. It's the 17-year-old's first ever Olympic medal and Canada's first medal of these games. We'll have the full story from day one of Paris 2024 in just a few minutes. But first, we'll say hello and welcome inside SportsCenter. Laura Dyken, Glenn Sheeler along with you. Lots coming up on the Olympics, as I mentioned. Let's start, though, in Toronto as Week 8 in the CFL continues. Bombers, Argos, and it's been a disastrous season so far for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They got questions at quarterback. They started 0-4. Now there's going to be questions of Mike O'Shea because, Laura, with a minute left in that game, had a chance to take the lead with a field goal, decided to go for it, and didn't work out.
Low-scoring affair until that 4th quarter, and then things got wicked and wild and awesome there, and back and forth affair after that. And, yeah, Winnipeg still looking for their first road win of this season. Cameron Duke's getting the start despite being replaced by Nick Arbuckle in last week's loss to Hamilton. Duke's here sacked for the 2nd time in the game already. Still in the 1st quarter. Dukes was pulled after the 1st, so in comes Arbuckle once again. Now, on the other side of things, Zach Alaris has thrown just 2 touchdowns in his 7 games this season. Shoved to the ground here in the 2nd, and he was slow to get up. In fact, He was pulled by the concussion spotter, but did return to action a short time later. This one all tied up at 6 points apiece. A nice story here is Chris Tomafochuk setting a world record, the fastest to visit all 9 CFL stadiums, doing it in just 16 days, raising money for cancer research. As we go back to the action, still tied at 6-6 here in the 4th.
Is throwing, and in coverage, and picked off. And it's being taken back by Tavares McFadden. Touchdown, Argos.
Galara's calling for pass interference. They would challenge this, but after review, the touchdown would stand. The first touchdown of the ball game as the Argos go on top. 9 minutes to go now. Colaros to Nick Dembski over the middle. He coughs it up. The Argos pounce on it. 4th turnover of the game for the Bombers. But after Winnipeg gets the ball back, driving now with 4 minutes to go, going deep for Ontario Wilson. Juggles the ball. No butterfingers there. 55-yard score. The Bombers, just like that, tie this one up 13-13. Yeah, we just talked about Mike O'Shea going for 3rd down there. Here in overtime after the Rouge by Winnipeg, it is Liram Hajrullahu finishing it off for the Argos, who are back above 500, 4-3 record. As yes, those Bombers, they'll be thinking about this one, dropping to 0-4 on the road this season. Home teams went 4 for 4 last week. Now with Toronto winning, home teams are 3-0 this week and 22-9 on the season. In case you're wondering, that's a 710 win percentage. Wilson's touchdown that you just saw, his longest catch of the season. But yes, the struggles continue for those Blue Bombers. And with more, let's turn it over now to Kate Burness and the panel.
And alongside Jim Barker, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and the panel was completely divided when it went down to 3rd and 1 under a minute to go. Look, they have Chris Streveler, I thought to myself, and I think Matty D, you're on my side as well, too.
Absolutely.
They were perfect. 18 for 18 when it came to 3rd down conversions. And then disaster struck. Milt, I will give you full credit. You were saying, actually yelling, kick the field goal.
Kick the field goal. And I hate to question an individual in a position I've never been in and never plan on being in. But in that position, I'm kicking the field goal. And I know you got the best short yardage quarterback, maybe in CFL history. But I'm looking at everything that was involved in this game. Toronto Argonaut offense couldn't move it an inch. Neither one of those quarterbacks could do anything. You kick that field goal, even if you just get a single, you win that game, in my opinion, and you put your team in a bad position. Mike O'Shea, one of the greatest head coaches in CFL history, the greatest head coach maybe in Winnipeg Blue Bomber history, in my opinion, made a bad mistake there, and he cost his team. That was a bad, bad loss for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and they're in a bad position right now, being 2-6.
You know, I completely agree with you, Milt. Agreed that Toronto, the chances of them moving the ball, they would have had to kick off. And Sergio was kicking the ball off, going that direction inside the 5, and they were starting around the 25. So they would have had 50-some seconds left. But in my mind, you're playing on a grass field. They're not used to playing on a grass field. There's so many things could happen in terms of slipping, in terms of a referee spot, like what did happen. And it just didn't make any sense to not just kick it. And like you say, if they win by a single, they win by a single, or they win by the field goal, and give them 50 seconds. If your defense can't hold it, Matt, then that's on them. But just too many things can happen with that call.
Yeah, hindsight, you know, it's always 20/20. It's a tough call. I was with Kate. I would have gone for it, sealed the deal right there, and taken more time off the clock, so nothing could have happened. But at the end of the day, you look at the game and it's as a whole, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers beat themselves with so many turnovers, and it was very uncharacteristic, but very characteristic for this football team this season. And they took points off the board all over this football field. And to me, it's one of those situations where they're going to look back at that. Not so much this call. A lot of people will look at that because they're like, that's the one that cost them the game. No. There's a bunch of plays that cost the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this football game, and they got to shore those things up if they want to have a chance to climb back into the playoff race, because at 2-6, this football team continues to reel and find ways to lose games, and we're just not used to seeing that from the Bombers.
And you know what? It doesn't get any easier from here. They have back-to-back games now against the BC Lions.
Good luck.
And for the Toronto Argonauts, too, they're staying above water now. They're above 500, and we'll see what happens with the quarterbacking situation as well, but kudos to them. They found a way to win as we send it back to Sports Center.
He had 97 yards from scrimmage in the win. Let's hear now from Kadeem Carey. He is new on SC.
It's a win, Kadeem, but how would you describe how that game played out?
It played out just how we wanted it, just a win, and that's all we can ask for.
What was Nick Arbuckle's message to the whole offense? I saw him pull everybody together before that final drive.
Man, just go win the game. You know, keep the ball on our side and just go win this game. We've been fighting against that team this whole week. I mean, battling the whole game, and we got to put it away on the offensive side. That was a good win for us on the O.
I know it's a W. Is it challenging, though, with this quarterback situation with you and the offensive line trying to set the rhythm?
I mean, like you said, when you're battling between quarterbacks, it's just about getting a win. I mean, if it's dirty, it's clean as long as you come away with the win, and we can clean it up next week. I'm just happy about this team. Both quarterbacks, they played hard, and we got the win.
Thanks for this.
Yes, thank you.
One more game to go in Week 8, and that comes your way tomorrow night. The Ticats got their first win of the season last week. Can the Elks follow suit tomorrow? Well, all 6 of Edmonton's losses have been one-score games, so they are definitely due. And our coverage gets underway at 7 Eastern Time, again, here on TSN. Well, Tavares McFadden, in his season debut, scored the first touchdown of this game, a pick-6, and here he is now with Matthew.
So, Tavares, I know what you did tonight, but what were you doing last week at this time?
Last week at this time, I was at home taking care of my daughter.
How satisfying is that knowing, well, is it satisfying? Was it tough leaving your family to come back?
It's always tough leaving my family, but I'm thankful that God keep blessing me with opportunities to be able to play the game that I love.
How satisfying was it to see your teammates? I know pointing to the watch means making a play at a critical time, but how satisfying was that knowing you were cut at the end of training camp?
I mean, it's all part of the game. You know, it's all part of the business. I got to, as football players, we got to keep the faith and know that we belong where we're supposed to belong, and God gonna always make a way.
What's your daughter's name?
Talia Rain.
You have any message for her after that tonight? Was that pick for her?
Everything I do is for her. The opportunity to come out here and leave them all the way out the country is for my baby.
Thanks for this.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
My God. I like this thing for real.
Mike O'Shea after a controversial loss in Toronto tonight.
Yeah, just enough mistakes to keep us from winning, me included, you know. Getting a little greedy there and take the points when they're available.
What was the thought process there? I mean, you've been getting that down the whole game. It feels like you ice that one if you do get it.
Yeah, that's the thought process.
Talked about shooting yourselves, like talked about limiting the turnovers each week. Obviously, this one was not a step the other direction. What can you put your finger on, guys? Say the right things during the week, but then the game happens.
And they work on it during the week. You know, they're working hard at it. It's just not taking hold just yet. So, obviously, it has to at some point because they're pros and they'll fix it. Just how long it takes, who knows.
What was your explanation on the 2 pass interference calls? One that obviously you guys are worked against you, and then the other one at the end for them.
Yeah, I'm not giving any explanation. Yeah.
So you weren't told anything about the one that stuck on you guys, like about why that wasn't a pass interference call?
They don't spend a lot of time explaining it. They just tell you what the outcome is, right? So I'll wait to hear this week from the league what they saw. You know, I don't know.
It looked like your offense was able to move the ball down the field, particularly in the first half. Zach connected with Wilson there to tie it, but it's still kind of tough sledding for that offense.
Yeah, I thought there was parts of our game that were really good. I thought, you know, although we gave the ball up a little bit, I thought the defense rose to the challenge and you know, shut them down. I thought our special teams cover unit and our return unit was pretty damn good. I think we had opportunities. Once again, I think we're just making enough mistakes to, once again, me included, to not win that type of game, that grinding type of game, right?
Injuries are piling up. I know you're probably not going to have a status update on Wolodarski and Neufeld, but how tough is it to continue that game with 2 veteran guys going down, let alone 2 more guys?
Yeah, we believe in everybody that's on our roster, PR included. So, I mean, it will be fine.
Do you think this, I mean, we're 8 games in. Do you think this roster is good enough to compete for a playoff spot this year? I know you're...
No doubt.
Yeah?
Not a doubt. Yeah, we just got to get winning a couple of these type of games, and then we'll know how to do it.
I know you would never call games must win, but now where does this leave you? 2-6. You got 2 games back to back. Well, like I said, the bye week in between, but 2 BC Lion teams coming up here.
Yeah, well, we go into every game preparing to win. So this one, BC has always proven they're tough games. So let's get in a tough one and let's come out on top.
Mike, what do you say to the guys after something like that?
Just tell them to pick themselves up, get off the mat. We got to go to work. Like tomorrow, we have to go to work, right? So they have to come in with that attitude.